What's up? It's Friday night. Probably no one will be watching because they're all at the Weird Go show in Houston. But anyway, we're going to have a fun time. We're going to show some videos, some new ones, probably some old ones. But anyway, I'm excited about this show because I've been waiting to bring this guy on the show for a while, and he's finally able to do it. So without further ado, let's welcome Jeff Tandy. What's up, Jeff?
Hey, how's it going?
Very good. How are
Finally.
you doing? Yeah, man. We've been trying to coordinate this, and I wasn't even going to do a show tonight, but I had a couple emails from people. Hey, witching hour tonight, witching hour. And I was like, oh, well, I guess I'll do
Yeah.
one. So I'm kind of a little ill prepared, but we're gonna have a good time. We
Thanks for
got
having me.
hey, no problem. So how are things going? What's going on? And we got the Nickel stage here going. Yo, what's going on in the Tandy verse? What are you up to lately?
It's it's actually been it's getting ready to be very busy, I'm pleased to say. First of all, we've got Metal Threat, which everybody's been talking about. That's going to be in Chicago in April.
That show is
Um,
so insane. I mean, am I looking at a European flyer? What is going on here, man? It's
yeah,
stacked beyond belief.
yeah. Paul Dunsky, who does Metal Threat, is going all out this time. We've worked with him before. He's great. Oh shit, sorry, that's my camera.
Ah,
He's great. He like I saw his productions he put on with Razor and Exciter and
uh-huh.
at War back in 2016. That was really killer.
You went to that?
But yeah, oh, yeah,
Oh wow, that's a great thrash lineup right there, man.
yeah. That was
Classics.
really sick. And so he's got. I mean, everybody check it out. You know, if you go on Facebook, if you just type Metal Threat 2023, it's going to be nuts. Really excited that Imprecation and Trenchant are going to be there. We're going to be on the same stage on the same day, so it's going to be the Jeff and Nick show, you know, between the two bands. Sadistic
How how
Intent
well
is headlining.
how far apart are you guys playing your sets from each other? You
Two
get a little
bands.
too bad. Okay, you got a good little rest
Yeah,
there. It gives you enough time to
yeah.
recharge. Those
Hmm.
are brutal though.
Yeah.
Two sets,
I
especially when you
mean,
do them back to back.
yes. Well, we weren't gonna do that. In fact, we
Yeah.
weren't even supposed to be on that same showcase. But Paul, you know, he's bringing all these bands from overseas and everything, so he was really trying to get everything slotted in. And since we were all going to be there, he's like, "Can you please just play the same day?" And we're like, "Okay." Yeah. But
Eh, oh well, at least
yeah.
it get. Are you gonna be there the whole full fest, like all the
Oh
days? Or
yeah. Oh
yeah,
fuck yeah. I'm gonna be
I
there
thought so. Yeah.
Thursday through Monday. I'm gonna go nuts. It's gonna be great. Gonna get to see Gehenna for the first time ever. I'm excited about that.
Man, we've been
Um,
fans forever, haven't we?
yeah, you and I got into that like right at the same time.
Same time, yeah.
Yeah,
Wow, that's a killer one to check off the old checklist there, the bucket list, man. Gehenna.
yeah, yeah. So that's going to be great. I mean, the whole lineup's great, but so in short, yeah, Trenchant and Imprecation at Metal Threat with a whole shitload of great bands, and then we're going to be on the Nuclear War Now Fest in San Marcos, also with Imprecation.
That one I think I
Then
can attend. It's just right up the road, really.
yeah, and then in at the end of April, Trenchant's going to headline at Bonds in San Antonio. So that'll be our first headlining show ever where we play the full set. So that'll be great.
I will be there
Um,
definitely for that for sure.
yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you. It's been God, it's been a
Yeah,
fucking long time.
yeah, it's been a while, right? Well, we haven't even seen each other like before the pandemic, right? It's
I don't think so.
just
And
like we did a
then
show together. I mean, one of these, but
yeah,
not a real meeting.
that's
That's
no,
awesome.
that's right. We did that like 8 9 months ago. That was with
With
everybody.
Alex.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the last time. But we haven't seen each other in person since the pandemic. So
I don't think I've seen Trenchant since we played with you guys up in Austin.
yeah, that's we hadn't played a show until we came back to Mass Destruction Fest
How
last
did
in
that show
November.
go?
That was really great. It to anyone who's listening, Mass Destruction is a really cool fest, and the thing that's really great about it is that it's a great lineup of bands, and it's done in a club setting. It's not like a big festival thing where there's like way too much shit going on at once. It's just one stage, 6, 7 bands just straight through, very well organized, very well scheduled, very nice club. Good lights, good sound, very comfortable.
Yeah,
Plenty of
because
places
even
to stand.
from the live videos and like cam videos you see, it sounds good. Even from those, you
Yeah.
get good sound. So I can imagine being there. They have a good sound system in their PA and all that. 'Cause those sound
Yes.
killer.
Yeah. So no, that went great. That was one of those things where you never know what to expect, because we were literally the first band on the bill on Saturday. And Friday had already happened. We were there for Friday and it was great. And you never know what to expect. People are going to be tired, hungover, whatever. And the room was actually full when we hit the stage. And
Fuck yeah,
we,
dude. That's awesome. Yeah, that is
we,
scary when you're the first band up, who knows what's gonna go on.
yeah. And we almost sold out of our merch, which really surprised us for the first band on.
Oh yeah, awesome.
Super cool. We made a lot of friends, like guys from Sacramento. That band, they're great live. If you haven't seen them, they're going to be on Metal Threat also. The guys from Sacramento came over and bought our merch and stuff like
No
that.
kidding. Wow.
Yeah,
The Swedes, huh?
yeah. And
Very cool.
and you know why this is a big deal for me, but that was the first time I ever got to open for Deicide. So that was
Oh
really
yes, I
exciting.
know. I know. I'm very well familiar with your love for Deicide. This goes back
Yeah.
since I first met
So
you. Oh
yeah,
boy. Well, we got a comment from the king here.
yeah.
What's going on? God doggy some of this career as a mother freaking. Good going,
All
Fraser.
right.
Yeah, it's always a good show when Fraser's there. Yeah, Fraser's even all Swedish metal. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, did you get to meet? I mean, you met Deicide before, right?
I met them briefly once in 1996 at not the back room, sorry, the showcase in San
Okay,
Antonio.
I remember that show.
Um, this time I actually met the guys proper and hung out with them a little
You
bit.
posted
And
pictures, right? I could have sworn I saw.
yeah,
Now it's
yeah,
coming back. Yeah. Oh, cool, man.
yeah.
That's cool.
And
How did that go?
they were really cool. And Glenn seems to be in a much better place. He's got a reputation for being kind of hard
Yeah,
to
yeah,
approach.
yeah,
He
yeah.
was extremely cool. They played a great set. And man, I realized, you'll appreciate this, I realized it was exactly 30 years since the first time I had seen them at that show, because the first time I saw them was in 1992. So I told Nick, I looked at Nick and I said, "You're going to get to see 16-year-old Jeff live again tonight." And
Yes,
I was
I remember
right
that.
up front, and I was raging, and I was actually verbally abusing them because they didn't play the whole Legion set. They actually just had a regular set, but they played a lot of all the classics.
The hits,
And
yeah.
and they weren't playing Trifiction, and I was like screaming at them to play Trifiction, to the point where Glenn was laughing at me. He's like turning around and tuning. He's just kind of doubled over, kind of laughing to himself. I'm like, you motherfuckers, you know how to play that song,
You said Legion set. I want a
Yeah,
Legion set.
yeah.
No new shit. Legion,
That's
Legion.
it. That's literally what I was yelling. I'm like, nothing past 1995. Fuck you, Legion.
The
So
only other
yeah,
shit you better play is from the first album. I want Legion Tour. Fuck off.
yeah. Oh yeah. So no, I was going completely psychotic. Anyway, you've seen it. You were there for the first time. So.
Classic Deicide. Well, that's fucking great, man. You know what? Hopefully, I don't. If the stream gets taken down, we'll just keep talking because it'll eventually come back. But I think I do have some Deicide in here, dude. Let's see.
Yeah.
Let me find my files here. Because, say what you will, but Deicide, fucking Deicide.
Who's saying what
Yeah.
they will about Deicide?
I know some people, some people. I don't get it. A lot of people kind of hate on Deicide. I don't understand why. I like Deicide.
Yeah.
I like, especially the first,
bizarre.
3 are really just fucking rippers.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is this band rivalry back from the day.
They smoked everybody. I remember.
And they rose pretty quick. That's
Yeah.
probably one of the things that got a lot of people under their skin is how, they were on top real fast.
Yes, and I won't even name any names, but there's guys that you and I both know very well from then
I
who
know.
are
I
just
heard a comment.
were completely skeptical. They're like, "Oh, that's bullshit. Ah, that's ridiculous. Oh, that's so messy sounding."
And we're like, well, it's kind of
It's
rules actually.
the
All right,
way of the
let's
future, dude.
yeah. All right, let's play some fucking DSI. We'll be back in a minute.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
And we're back. We are back live. Jeff will be right back in a second. He was handling some business apparently. So yeah, that was DSI. That was one of being Jeff's, I guess, first bands that me and him got into together when we first met as friends. We were big DSI fans. Yeah, like we were saying, some people hate on DSI, whatever, but we fucking dug it. We loved it. that first album, I don't care. I think it's a ripper. Every song on there slays. It's the straight up evil death metal on the spot, heavy stuff. So that's right. But when I do want to talk about this because I just got this in the mail not too long ago, and if I can rules, it's the imprecation. Okay, Jeff's back. I'm gonna bring him back on real quick. Okay, bro, we're back. Hey, man, I'm terrible at these pronunciation. How do you say that, Jeff? These fucking. Oh, you're muted, Jeff. Turn your mic on.
Let me try that again.
Okay, here we go.
Theurgia Goetia Summa.
I knew you. Well, you're in the band, but you probably knew how to say it even when it came out. I'm like, I don't even try to learn. Let's talk about this for the people who don't know for some reason what this is. Oh, and we got another guest here, and I'm sure. I don't know if you know JD Jodan from used to be in Severance. He's been on my show a couple times. You're here, JD.
Yeah, we've never met.
Yeah, he's quite the guy. He plays JD. This is Jeff.
What's up, Jeff?
How you doing?
Problems?
Oh, yes, actually.
I always say that to him every time I see him. Do you notice that? I always say, hey, still causing problems? What's up?
How you doing, man?
Hey, for all you posers who don't know, that's a reference to one of his songs. And it fucking rules, man. It's a great album. And I really wish the band was still fucking making noise. I like that shit.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yeah, Carl's talking about what I'm busy with right now.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Jeff's history in metal here, but I just want to plug this first. We're talking about the implication. Look at this. I got my
copies. I have the original though. Sorry.
I have the CD. I have the CD. I don't even. Yeah, from the Spanish label or whatever. This is really sweet.
Repulse.
Yeah.
Thank you. Nice gatefold, super glossy stock. Probably may not be coming out on here, but I didn't get one of the nice vinyls. I guess I ordered too late. Snooze, you lose. You know how that goes. But it comes with this nice booklet with a little history.
Got it. It's good, man. There's a lot of good information in there.
Oh, and I noticed it had that flyer, Jeff, from the DMZ show.
Yes. Yeah. That one's really great.
Was that Averse's first show?
Oh no, we didn't play with Imprecation on that. No.
What? Why do I think Averse Sefira's on here? Dread Moon. No, you're on here.
Oh, we are, aren't we? Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
that was that was like our second show. I want to say. No. It had to be our first show. Oh my God, my memory's just like zeroed.
Yeah,
that was with Imprecation.
On the bottom here. Yeah, at the DMZ. It was a super early show.
Yeah.
Hey, I saw Averse Sefira live in 2000 or 2001.
Yeah.
At the back room in Austin.
Yes.
And you had a drummer because your demo has no drummer. And then drummer. Sorry to derail. I know you're on Imprecation, but I want to get to.
No, that's cool.
Yeah, dude. Your drummer had these fucking like round deals, and he'd hit them, and they sounded like bells.
I'm trying to think of what you're talking about.
Dong! But he had cymbals, but then he had like these. They were like.
Oh, they were like little ride bells on the top of the bell.
Yeah, but it was
talking about.
Cool. It looked like a rototom without the tom, just that circular wheel with the but it was facing up, and he fucking hit him, and dong! It sounded like a glockenspiel or something crazy like that. He had like two of them, cymbals and shit. But anyways, that's how I first saw you. When did you start? Was that not one of your first shows then, or what?
Oh, at the DMZ?
For our first.
Yeah,
are you talking about the show I just showed, or the one you were talking about, JD?
In Austin.
Oh, in Austin, we played dozens of times by that point.
You start because I saw you right after the death.
We started playing live in '96.
Okay, I was way late to the game then. I thought I was early because all you had was that demo, and you had just come out with an album with a real drummer.
Yes. Yeah. So that's right. So
I'll never forget that, man. That's pretty rad. All right, sorry.
Oh, thanks. That's all right.
No, yeah, the DMZ show was. I think it was your first show.
It was. We only played the one time. So
that's what I remember. I think
I'm so
Thorn Spawn
embarrassed I
only
forgot
played.
that.
That's all right. It all starts to blend when I'm on here. Sometimes people ask me things about shows. I'm like, I don't know. I know I played something, but all these details. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's this show. Like, and
Yep.
then you look back at your schedule and you're like, holy shit, I played all this shit. You don't even.
Yes.
I'm sure JD, you're the same way. You played so many shows you don't even realize till you look at it and you're like, holy crap, I can't believe I played all these damn shows. It doesn't seem like it.
Yeah. And these days,
I remember a lot of my shows, but I think I can honestly. You guys have probably played a lot more shows than me, and that's because I've been playing a lot. I think I started playing gigs in 90, 98, 97,
okay.
98.
Okay.
And but the thing is, down in the valley, it's different than up there, man. 98, 99, you guys saw it all the best bands went through your big towns, and down here in the RGV, I mean, they went shit down here, dude. I mean, not that often. I mean, nah, dude, we didn't get to see half the kick-ass bands you guys were surrounded by in your fucking hometown, let alone.
Yeah. San Antonio had everything.
San Antonio was, I mean, it sucks now because there's not the right venue for shows. That's one of the problems. Like the not mid-tier bands, there's really not a venue for them to play. And if they do play this one place, it's such a rip-off. No one likes to go there. So
Get on my hairy legs.
Stupid Fraser. This guy, Jesus drinks jet fuel. He's a regular with his judgmental dog. He wants to know what band you are currently in right now, Jeff. What let's refresh what bands you're currently in.
Currently, I'm in Imprecation and also in Trenchant, which is kind of a big deal because I've never been in two bands at the same time that were like fully active. And the result of that was that Trenchant and Imprecation both came out last year, which is, of course, as I was talking about before, why now Trenchant is opening for Imprecation on the same bill in Metal Threat. So we're just kind of like, can't get in my own way. But if you're trying to keep up, I was in Birth AD for about a decade, from 2008 to 2018. And then before
fast decade. That fucking flew by, dude.
I know. And then and then I was in Averse Sefira from 1995 up until 2012. So that was
with that beautiful, straight, long blonde hair and your black metal face. I was like, this motherfucker's from Norway. I thought you were Norwegian, man. Neta, dude. I was like, wow, I'd have to travel hours to see you guys play, I mean, fuck, it's like 4 hours to San Antonio, right? And I saw you not another hour. And it's like, we're in the big city, everybody's like excited. Like we all carpooled and we get to Austin. And there's these Norwegian looking motherfuckers, this, Jeff there with his long, straight fucking hair and the black metal paint looked cool as fuck, dude. That was badass.
Thanks. Yeah. I'll tell you a quick funny story about that because I am of Norwegian extraction. I mean, I'm not from there, but my family background is. And so was my drummer, Mark. He was like very Scandinavian. You remember
Mark was a big fucking Viking.
He was a huge dude. He was a huge
the guitar player was a big guy too, man.
Yeah, he was.
With the wild hair. Yeah, he was huge.
Yeah, big. That was kind of fun being like physically the biggest band on any tour package. But anyway, when we first played in Hollywood, like literally on the Sunset Strip with 13.
Let me interrupt you just for 1 second.
Yeah.
Thornspawn could have been the biggest band usually that played, but there was just one certain member that just knocked down the average so bad.
He threw the average off.
It is what it is. Okay, continue
you guys
on.
You guys ended up all 5'7" when you totaled it out. No, I and my drummer, we were standing in front of the Chinese theater, that famous Chinese theater that they have right down on Sunset Boulevard. Yeah. And we're just looking at it because the show was right next door. And this kid kind of drifts up to us. He was probably like 12 or 13. And he looks at me. He goes, "Are you Alexi Laiho?"
Oh shit!
and I just smiled at him. I went, no, I'm not Alexi. And then he looked kind of put off, and he kind of looks at Mark, my drummer, and he goes, well, isn't that Yarno, your drummer or whatever? Because I guess Mark looked like the drummer from Children of Bodom. And Mark goes, no. And the kid just kind of wandered away from us looking pissed off because he believed we were Children of Bodom, and he thought we were lying to him.
These guys are being dicks. They don't want to
talk those guys are dicks. They don't want to talk to me.
That's funny.
That's funny. You know, honestly, on the note of the biggest band, as far as like big boys, you know what I mean? To me, I think the record, at least top 3, it has to be Infernal Dominion. You had Wes Weaver, you had Big Jim, you had fucking Dauber, you had Hound. The only guy who wasn't big was Mike Swearingen, where is how to pronounce his last name? All those guys were like $3 bills each, dude. That must have been like 3, 6, 9. That's like 1,000 pounds in that van, dude. Of fucking death metal, Texas death metal.
It looked like a wrestling crew, dude.
Dude, give them spikes and it's the Legion of Doom. You're like, oh, hell yeah, man. Rest in peace, Wes Weaver.
Yes,
so
seriously.
Going way back, me and Jeff met through Link, right? Through
Link, yes.
Link, Mike Hernandez, Sorengul, when I had just left Indignation.
Mm-hmm.
And ironically, Jeff was playing. Weren't you playing bass? You did a hot minute. He played bass right after I left. All right, after I left Indignation.
You played bass in Indignation. Okay.
Yeah,
on one show only, but that was like a life-changing show because
were you in the same? Were you in the lineup with Rick from Laredo? Rick, were you guys in the band together? Okay, it was different. Okay,
I know Rick. Rick's awesome. Yeah. I saw Antisma play a whole bunch of times, and Rick's a great guy. But no, I wasn't in with him. That would have been great if I'd been in with Rick. I love Rick.
But you got to play one of the main shows. Like you played one show, but what fucking show was it, Jeff? And I was still kind of mad. Like, man, I should still be in the fucking band.
I love that feeling.
It was.
Yes, you know, right?
It was a watershed moment.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's like going bananas. And you're like, duh, I wish I was.
Oh no, I wasn't there, but I should have been there, man.
Yeah.
Jeff, tell them what show you played. You got to play.
It was at the Axiom the first time Immolation ever came to Texas in 1992. Fuck. And the thing that's amazing is that was Imprecation's second show ever. So I got to see them like when they were brand new, and I was really excited about that because they were awesome. So
it was Wes Weaver's debut show too.
Yes, it was.
I heard
so it was
from
Imprecation, Indignation, Goraphobia. They were awesome.
Ooh.
Hex, remember Hex, HEXX? They were on Century Media for a minute, and then Immolation, and that's when I met Immolation, and that changed my life. So,
what a show to play, right?
Yeah.
You know, on that note of change my life and Immolation, and play a song. Sorry, extracurricular activities. The song "I Feel Nothing." Yeah. When I first heard that song, it was like it had just come out. It was 97, right? The album was out in 97. So I think it was like a year. What's up?
Yeah.
96. Okay. Yeah. 97 is when I heard it, right? And that track, I feel nothing. Those lyrics. Check this out. So you know when you're growing up, and you guys know what I'm talking about. Like, oh, you're in a band, huh? What kind of music do you play? And you have to explain to your fucking aunt and your teacher and your friend's mom or whatever. I'm in a rock band, or I play heavy metal. You know, you even tell them heavy metal, and that's why it's fucking candy coating it, right? But some people with the next line you always hear is, "Oh, I like that stuff. I just don't like the vocals," right? And then another common line you always hear after that is, "Well, honestly, I don't care about the vocal or the message. It's more of an instrument, and the music is what I care about," right? You hear those common lines in that order, right? Okay.
Yeah.
One day I heard this song called "I Feel Nothing," which is track 2, I think, off of Here and After of Immolation.
Great record.
And I was like, those are the lyrics. Like, that's how I feel. Like, that was the first time I read lyrics that were like, you know, evil. I mean, I had already been into Deicide and things like that in Slayer, but those were almost like like exaggerated and like awesome, but like almost atmospheric. The Immolation song was just to the point. There was no theatrics as far as like, you know, like a Dio song, you know what I mean? Like lyrics, it's describing like radical shit. It's like someone's honest.
Here. What's up, bro?
Oh, hello, what's up, man? And it was just cool. That was the first time a death metal song's lyrics where I could tell someone, you want to know what I think? Read the lyrics to that song. That's me. Just put my name in front of it. I don't know. I just had to mention that, dude. That album is the shit. And that band changed my life too, man. I love that. Game changer.
Yeah,
for sure.
They were seismic. I mean, people don't. I mean, everybody's on to them finally now. They get the respect that they deserve.
Now for sure.
They're getting a new wave. Yeah, they're getting a new push, man. I like it.
But what people don't, I mean, I'm really heavily tied to the whole history of the band. I've known them for all this time. We've toured together.
I can vouch for that. Jeff known these guys, toured with them, right?
Oh yeah,
multiple times. Yeah.
Damn, that's fucking cool, man. I got to open for them one time. They came down to the valley with Severance, and I was just glowing, dude. I love that band.
Yeah.
They rule.
Yeah, they're amazing. But they went through a lot of low times in terms of not getting enough attention, not getting enough push, you know, playing to empty rooms. I mean, I've seen them play like I mean, I'm not exaggerating. I think I've seen them play like 150 times. Here's the funny thing about that. I was just figuring this out the other day. It's like you think about you go, oh, I've seen that band like, you know, 100 times, or I've seen them 50 times. If you actually like sit down and get a calendar out, you've seen them 12 times if you've seen them a whole shitload of times or something like that.
Never really that many.
I've literally seen them like 150 times. Partly
because I toured with them. It's not an exaggeration.
Well, no, I've toured with them twice. So
I get you.
So like 60, 70 of those was because I was on tour with them and watched them every fucking night. But still,
dude, that's a long stretch, man. What were you doing with them?
Well, it was two different tours. Averse Sefira went out on tour with them back in 2008, and then I was their tech and stage manager in 2010. And
shit!
I forgot that you used to do that for bands.
Yeah, I mean, I did. I basically spent. I logged almost. If you put it all together, I logged like a year on the road with Marduk. So that was pretty great. But,
hey, so did you do that through an agency, like some kind of like a band firm, or you just kind of person to person, like, hey, hit me up in this area, and I'll, like the way what's his name does from Dallas, John Pettis. John Pettis.
Reputation for himself, though, right? I mean, you knew the bands prior.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it was. Like for instance, like once we got on Candlelight with Averse Sefira, we were plugged into management. And then the booking agent, I just told him, I said, hey, I would like to go work for other bands. So he just hired me. Immolation hired me on their own, of course, because I knew them. It got to the point where I was just roadieing for bands because I knew them. Marduk, I actually got hired for because we had the same booking agent and they hired me. And then I became really good friends with them. And they didn't even ask the booking agent anymore. They would just say, hey, are you coming when we come here? And I'm like, yes. So
I mean, that's a good way to do it.
Check this out. When Hod went out on the road with Marduk, Jeff was the stage manager, right? More than that, you were. So it was like a big fucking good time because, you know, I knew Jeff already for a long time, and I still, dude, this cracks me up when I still think about it. The time the kid picked up the mic and started yelling. I don't know. You don't remember you went out there and grabbed the mic and you popped him on the head with it. The kid was like,
yeah, I clubbed him. I was, God Almighty, I was so
awesome.
I was so violent. I was so violent to Marduk fans, man. I was really. I should have caught a fucking assault charge on a couple of those.
Up, man.
Did you feel? Did you feel like you needed to how do I say this? Impose your dominance over the situation because you didn't want shit to get out of hand. Like, hey, boom, don't fuck around. You know, this is not just any band. You don't fuck around.
Yes, it was literally that. It was command presence. It was to make sure, because that's usually what would happen. One person would start acting like an idiot, I'd shut him down as hard as I could, and then everybody would stay off the stage, and that's what I wanted. So,
Sick.
Yeah, I mean,
And that's why they're like, "Hey, are you gonna be around, man? Come on, man."
Yeah.
They call you back.
I mean, come on, people. Is Marduk really a band you hop on stage for? And
No.
that's not.
Well,
that,
No.
not
you guys
that.
have seen the footage of Mortuus, the singer, trashing that one kid. And
Oh yeah, man. He did
No, I
he
haven't seen that. I can
he
imagine.
body slams his ass, dude.
Sick.
that was horrible. Here you go. Here's some behind the scenes on that. We were having technical problems like crazy at that show. I was having to go back and yell at the house sound guy to fix what was going on. The band was hating the show, and that club in San Francisco was really badly set up because it's the main stage, right? But then it has like theater stairs going on both sides. So you can just literally walk up onto the stage. It's not like you're having to scramble on, right? You can just, from the audience, you can walk up on the stage. And of course, I'm there making sure that nobody's doing that. But then I had to run into the back, and I'm like yelling at the sound guy at the back of the house. And I'm like going, "You got to put more monitor in this. You got to fucking fix this." And I look up and I'm like, "Oh, no." And there's this kid walking onto the stage, and he just throws his arm around Mortuus. And Mortuus is, now the thing you got to know about that guy is that he is a ranked, well, I don't know, I shouldn't say he's ranked. He's a very experienced MMA fighter. And
No shit.
Yeah.
I heard he's also a raging alcoholic. So you put a fucking raging alcoholic with skills to
I don't know
fight?
about raging alcoholic.
No,
dude, that's what I straight up heard. Hey, you know what? Answer this question. That was interesting. I read an article. It was straight up. I can't remember what magazine it was or where I read it, but I swear to you, I read it where they're like, his writer, he always wants a bottle of Jack Daniels, and he would drink all day, and he would sleep all day, and then he'd wake up and sing, and then go back and disappear. Like it was just
none of that's true.
That made me like freak out with the dude. I was like, this guy's.
I don't want to make it sound, but I mean, they got their liquor, but he wasn't.
Well, yeah, but
day.
No.
Only after the show is what I.
The story made him seem like a Jim Morrison or like unhinged. Just like give me the bottle.
Regardless, I mean, shit.
Yeah.
Could that be? I don't even think that was Legion. The previous.
No, not Legion. No, the other guy, Mortis or what's his name?
No, Mortuus. No.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not. Don't get me wrong. He's not straight edge or anything, but he likes to have a drink, but he's not like that at all. No, he's actually
one of my. I didn't talk to him much, but one of my coolest moments with that dude is in Cleveland after we played. We had a destructive set. It was really good, right?
Yeah.
And I was walking by him, and he was going up to he was going upstairs to their area, and as he's going up, he taps me on the shoulder and shoves the vodka in my face.
Yeah.
And I was like, and he's like,
fuck it.
And, he's like, I was like, fucking, that's cool. I got, got the approval for the evening, man. So I was
that's pretty badass.
Yeah, man, that was fucking awesome. That was one of the early shows in I think the little tour we did with them.
If we had done, can you imagine what would have happened, Carl, if we'd done like 2 more weeks of that? That would have been such a blast. We were having such a good time.
Yeah, because they love beer. They started really taking the beer, man. The singer.
R&R in particular really liked you guys.
Yeah, the R&R guys were so fucking cool, dude.
OJ, dude. Yeah, man. I keep. You told me some cool stories about hanging out with Rooney and those guys, man. That's so wild.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude. Really, really cool guys, and I just like Rooney because he's no nonsense, right, Jeff? He's just like straight to the point.
Up.
But he kind of has also like an awesome dry sense of humor too. That you got to catch. Like, is he serious or is he joking? Or it's fucking cool.
Yeah,
cool guys.
Yeah. Where was I? I forget.
We're talking about. I think if we get to the point, we got to talk about
the San Francisco thing with him trashing that kid. So that's those guys can take care of themselves. And
the body slamming.
Yeah,
that was part of the story. That's where the guy put his arm around. What's his name?
He put his arm around Mortuus. That's between songs. Mortuus just didn't even look back. He just reached back, grabbed the kid's head, and just went and just put him right into the monitors. The kid apparently chipped his pelvis on the monitor. So, and I mean, brutal. He got hurt, and the this is San Francisco, so you know everybody's a pussy there. The sound guy sees this and he looks at me. He goes, okay, that's assault. And I said, yeah, and you're next if you don't fix this right now.
You grab the mic, you start swinging it like a flail, you know. Back off, motherfucker. Get over here. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Dude, that's fucking wild, dude. That's fucking wild, man.
Yeah.
To be able to fucking tour with like all those guys, like touring with R Noir, touring with Immolation, you know, that's one thing, you know, and I'd like for someone to educate me on this, but like right there, what I'm doing right there, I have a habit of doing that. Like I am so passionate about this thing that not only do we like listen to music and we're into music and whatever, but like we live it, like we're into it. We invest time, we invest money, we sacrifice a lot to feed it, right? To be a part of it, right? And it's very, I don't know if any other genre, specifically this, right, that they worship each other and support each other and like celebrate each other in that respect, you know? Like we give so much respect and admiration for those who came before and who did it right? But and that's kind of in general, right? Like whatever the thing is,
kind of cross genres and for sure.
But like, who else does that, right? Like who else is that? And I say this as a positive thing, right? Like I think a lot of other, and I this is me kind of talking silly, but like genre stuff, you know, like let's say country guys or rappers or rockers or whatever I don't see them like kind of like feeding off of each other with like celebration and inspiration, you know what I mean? It's like they're all competing against each other. It doesn't feel the same, you know?
I can answer the question why is because everything else you're describing is all based in the industry where there's actually money involved.
That's the main thing, money.
You know, who's going to headline, all that shit. I mean, there's some of that in metal, but ultimately most of us are still independents for all intents and purposes. So we're all peers to some degree or other. It's like, okay, Immolation's big, Marduk's big, but they're not so big that they can't acknowledge the band that's opening for them on the tour and like give them some due, you know? It's only 1 degree removed. Like, God, the Immolation guys, they support tons of new bands. I mean, I want to kind of give them a shout out for that because they changed management more recently and their first piece of agenda was like, we want new bands, we want younger bands, we want to give other good new bands a chance to open for us. We don't want it to be the same fucking package every time. So that's why Mortiferum got to go out with Immolation. That was really, really cool. So they're doing a lot of that when they're headlining, obviously, like they went out with Cannibal Corpse and Dark Funeral recently, so they don't get
to but it is true. Immolation, they tuck you guys out, you know, they take out younger bands, you know. Can you guys still newer bands?
Yeah, now you're back. I lost you for a second.
Yeah, we lost you for a second.
Lost me.
What's up, Rosalinda?
Okay, can you still hear me?
Oh yeah. Loud and clear,
Jeff. You hear us?
All right. Yeah. So all I was going to say was that like they even like Immolation even approached Trenchant about going out with them. The only reason it didn't happen is because we can't commit to 30 days. We both have jobs and everything. So
that's pretty smart of them to do that because you know, I for whatever the motive, but it does offer more opportunity for relevance when you're in front of the new wave of energy and you're part of it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
As opposed to like separating yourself from it. It's weird, you know. Dude, I like to do a lot of extracurricular activities, if you know what I mean, with my friends, and we'll talk, you know, silly stuff. And one day, you know, I was having an extracurricular moment, and I got this idea, right? I was like, check this out, guys. Name, without thinking, gun to your head, most iconic, most important bands in extreme metal. Go. Don't think. Go.
You're talking to us.
Yeah, I'm asking you. Go. Name one. Real quick.
Like
most important. Like
most important.
Morbid Angel. Just throw them out. Like there's several.
Morbid
Venom,
Angel, Venom,
Morbid Angel,
Slayer,
Morbid Angel,
Bathory, Slayer. Okay,
Slayer,
all right,
yeah.
all right. So all those bands that are in that category, right? If we sit like this at a round table and amongst all our friends, right, like the way we are now, and we're all talking and celebrating these like golden moments, right? All those recordings, they were kids.
Yes.
Oh, for
They
sure.
were fucking 16, 18, 20, and making timeless. Isn't it weird how like that 20-year-old's voice doesn't sound like a kid?
Yeah.
But he was a kid, and like we're here 30, 40 years later, some of the most iconic, Motorhead, fucking name any, Metallica, whatever, right? The first, the ones that got us, they were children, dude. And so it's kind of weird. Like the fact
is the one that's like the youngest at the time.
Yeah.
Right.
Possessed were little kids when they did Seven Churches.
All the two Mikes and Jeff and all those guys, yeah.
Yeah.
And so there's another example. And the point of it is that I say this to all you dudes and dudettes out there who are a little older, right? Like I just turned 40 a couple of weeks ago, or in January, last day of January, yay! And I've seen it. Thank you, belated. I've seen it amongst my peers and amongst my elders, where there's these moments where we and I say we because I've been guilty of it at times, like where you like, look at these little posers, these little kids, they don't know shit, look at all these kids are never gonna. But I have to tell myself and remind everybody, hey, you need to help, you need to share. There's your opportunity to say, you see this kid who's a little poser kid, look, and give him a copy of a good album. Look, kid, listen to this, there's your opportunity to spread the scene, to spread, to keep it alive, instead of like accidentally like pushing away the young posers. You want them to say, no, come here, share all the good shit. Just the thing, it's funny because they're, and because they were kids, because what the music is the power of the youth, and this was in 83, this was in 85. You know what I mean?
I mean, come on, man. We all have to start out as a poser at some point. We don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure poser's the right word, but
I know it's just a figurative speech, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But we didn't know shit till we knew it, and we started learning about it. Now, if you continue being a poser after you hear all the good shit,
that's on you.
And I knew Francisco would say something. Nah, fuck them.
Hey, well,
even your wife's weighing in. Nah. Let them
suffer.
And that's why she sings for Hexea.
Fuck
yeah. See, that's why she leads that band, because she's the one with the fire.
That's worth mentioning. Years ago, I kept having, especially after I started doing Birth AD and I wasn't doing the black metal thing anymore, people actually wanted to come talk to me and like socialize with me, as a player. And younger kids would come up and say, what do you recommend? What should I be listening to? And Nick Norris, Carl, was one of the first people I did this for when I met him, because he was only 19. And I sent him this master list of classic albums that he needed to hear.
I gotta correct my friend Austin, because he's always correcting me. He says, I'm such a poster, but you all put me on. No, you're not a poster. It's a poser, Austin.
Yeah, man.
Got
you're
you
not
back
a poster.
finally, bro. Got you back. You're not a poster. All right, continue, Jeff.
Oh, I was just going to say, I put together this master list of albums, many of which you turned me on to, Carl. That's worth mentioning. So I passed that forward, and I gave that to him. And then a couple other kids over time came up to me or emailed me and said, what should I mean, I don't know why. I mean, I never said, hey, if you want to know what to listen to, email me, but they did. And I kept passing that list around.
And then Nick Norris was one of those kids?
He was.
Dude, Nick's from here, dude. He's from the RGV, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a hometown.
He escaped. And
he crossed the checkpoint and said, I'm having to prove that I'm an American citizen. Let's go.
Yeah. But yeah, and it was amazing because one of the one guy I actually gave that list to. I ran into him just a couple of years ago, and he's much older. He's like actually an adult, and he came up and goes, "Man," he's like, I still listen to every band you put on that list. That's now my foundation, and I'm so glad you told me." So yeah, and then it was everything.
And look, now you guys are jamming together in Imprecation.
Yes, yeah.
That's so wild.
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, that worked out phenomenally. I Nick and I have kind of become a package deal, and I'm really don't mind that, because I'm really proud of everything that we're coming up with or contributing to with Imprecation and all of that. So I mean,
Roy Fox in the house. Fucking what's up, Roy?
What's up, Big Daddy?
Death metal, fucking Godfather.
That's right.
But yeah, I agree. It's worth reaching out and trying to kind of connect people in, because there's so much out there now. There's 10 times more bands to listen to than there was before. Why would you want to waste your time with a band like Tomb Mold when you could be listening to Onward to Golgotha? It's really important to get the word out.
There's so many. Like,
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
There's so much fucking safe space death metal.
Yes.
And then there's but on the flip side of that coin is there's some really good fucking underground bands now that are kids, and you can't deny it. They're fucking killer. There's a lot of good underground shit too. Just as much as there's terrible poser shit out there.
Yes.
There's fucking good music. I'm like, fuck, keeps me happy.
I think what it is you're both right. I think, why would you waste your time with what's that band, Murder Squad, when you can listen to Autopsy, the band that they are literally copying, right? Like, listen to Autopsy. But I think what's important is both things, right? It's like, hey, you can't deny the new band, the new hit sensation, like ETD. Order your shirt. Anyways, but what I'm trying to say is, as long as said young band, you speak to them and you meet them, right? Because again, like you said, like this kind of like a community, right? We're all very personal. We're meeting each other, getting to understand each other, and they acknowledge they have to. I think we do have a weird dogma, or I don't know what it is. Like, we have some kind of way, right? Like the metal way, or what extreme. We all have to pay respect to those before us. You know what I'm saying? Like your Venoms, your Bathories, your Slayers, your Possessed. I'm gonna get to see Possessed. I think I'm gonna get to see Possessed. I think I'm gonna go Hell's Heroes. Anyways, so the point is, and then that helps us to accept these new efforts, these young ignoramuses who have the good heart, though, and they're not going to be ignoramuses forever,
No.
So.
I think it's kind of obvious. It was funny because when I met Nick, he was 19, and there were some people around him who were.
There's one, Francisco, Bestial Warfare. I don't know if they're kids, but it's a newer band and it fucking rules. He was saying name one band, and I was like, okay.
Mortiferum. I already named him Mortiferum. That's a big one to check. And they're not even. I mean, they've been around for a few years now. So
Asada, y'all need to listen to Asada's recordings from down here from Brownsville. Younger kids too, man. They're mid-20s, early 20s, or I don't know. At this point, it's already been a few years, right? Time keeps flying. But the two-piece dirty grind band, and they're into good shit, and they make good music, and they're super young. So that's cool. Everywhere, right? We're all seeing these good examples of new bands that are gonna be even better. We just got to give them a chance, right?
Yeah.
Give Charles a virtual BJ.
I mean, that's why we keep our podcast going, Metal Enema. It's been going on for forever because it's an opportunity.
Jeff, how long have you been doing that? What year did that actually start? Like
1995. So yeah,
dude, both you guys have been helping the scene in a big way from the beginning. Like, you're working with bands directly and getting them shows and helping them on the road. And then like you're over here throwing magazines and you're, promoting all these kick-ass bands from back in the day. And look, today you're still doing it, dude. You're still supporting the scene, man, like in a big way.
That's in our blood,
sick,
dude.
man.
At this point, what the fuck
Yeah.
else do we know to do with our
I love it.
free time, outside of work and marriage? I'm like, what the fuck else do I love? I mean, I like my nerd shit too, and I'm sure people are
Yeah.
weird. I'm caught up in nerd fucking crap, which some of
Oh,
that
yeah.
shit's so fucking corny to be
Hey,
in nerd world. But anyway,
Carl,
yeah, I mean,
that's how you and I got together. When you came to join, Carl came to join my band Diabolus. I was 15, and I think you were going on 19.
yeah,
Hey.
And
yeah, I was the old man.
And we were kind of initially kind of put together because of the music, but then Carl and I realized that we liked all the same crap outside of that, like all the movies and all the sci-fi and all that stuff.
Our comics and movies were
comics.
all on fucking par.
Sick.
Yeah.
Shit, we fucking dug especially like our sci-fi action, aliens, and fucking
yeah,
all that
we were into
shit.
all that. So yeah, that's how we actually. I think that's how we really became friends. Is that we
Fucking Andy Jones? What's
were
up,
all that.
Andy? Yeah, man.
Hey.
I mean, remember, dude, we used to go see fucking movies all the time and fucking
Oh yeah,
hang out before you fucking stupid adulthood had to take over everything.
yeah. I would go back to that if you said pick an era that you have to live in for the rest of your life. I would go back to that in a second, man.
No
Like,
job and just being able to do what you want. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
And
Andy Jones.
I remember we were
Andy
joking
Jones.
about that because we'd go down to Hog Wild Records, and I mean, this is like
Legendary Hog Wild. You always have to say legendary. Legendary Hog Wild. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. I used to basically live there.
Okay.
And we'd go in there like this. What was this, about 95, Carl? Yeah, when Black Metal
about
was
95.
big.
Yeah.
We'd go in there and we'd buy like 10 fucking CDs at a time, and these were import prices, so they were like about $20 a piece.
$20. Yep.
We'd spend like $250 on CDs in one day, each of us, $250 a piece. And
I know that.
And I was like I was talking to you about that a while ago. I'm going, how did we afford all that? And then we'd still go get food at Wendy's or something right after. It was
yeah, but that's it. That's where all the money went. Like I used to live in San Antonio, right? And I worked at this restaurant. You probably know Zio's. Do you remember Zio's?
Yeah.
Off I. Yeah. Okay. So I used to work at a Zio's, right? And I lived in San Antonio from 2000 to 2001, and so like. I would go. I didn't know anybody, right? I met like 2 or 3 people, and between these 2 or 3 people, they showed me. Actually, before I had even been to Hog Wild, I used to go to a place called CD Trader on Perrin Vital, 410.
Fat Rick.
That big dude, yeah, big guy. I mean, yeah, and he had his foot up on the counter, and he could breathe better. Like, he was big.
2 Subway footlongs at the same time. That motherfucker.
Whoa.
Yeah. He would put this fucking import stickers, and it was like just because it was, and he would charge like an assload of money for a fucking Marduk CD, which is like on Osmos at the time, right? And it's just
I'll tell you
import.
what's going on there, bro. He was sending people down to Hog Wild to buy their stuff and taking it over there and selling it at a jacked up price.
That's messed up. I mean, it was legitimately more expensive though. Import CDs were on average about $20 to $25, but there were maniacs out there charging $30. And if you really couldn't get it any other way, you'd end up fucking paying it.
I was gonna say I would take my paycheck from Zio's and blast it all at those places, man. I'd have no money left over. Payday gone.
Wants to know if we saw Morbid Kareem. They didn't come down our way, did they, Jeff?
No.
Yeah. Dallas is like a freaking 4 to 5 hour drive at least. Nowadays.
Yeah, and
they didn't come down here.
Hey, guys, sorry to interrupt you, but I got some company that came down from Kyle, Texas. Musician friend of mine. He's a drummer from this band called Drujo de Mada, and his wife, and we're gonna hang out and listen to metal and eat.
All right,
and listen to more metal and listen to you guys for a little while. So thank you for letting me hang out with you guys.
Great, thanks for coming by, man. It's good to see you.
All right, peace out.
See ya. Take care, JD. So yeah, you'll be playing with them in San Antonio. Hexea.
Oh, right. So
you'll see them again here pretty soon.
God, I can't keep track of who we're playing with. I always have to look at the fucking flyer. I'm such an asshole that way. I'm like, we're playing with. It's not that I don't know the bands, but you know what I'm saying. They go, who are you playing with? I'm like, oh geez, I gotta look.
You know, so especially when you got so many shows coming up.
Yeah.
I mean, luckily my slate is clean. You know, I
Yeah.
don't have anything maybe till June, and I'm gonna try to keep it that way because I want to work on new songs and just refine
Yeah.
the songs, man. We're writing new stuff.
That's cool. Yeah, we're doing the same thing with Trenchant. We got more stuff coming.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I mean it'll be 2024 sometime before it's out, obviously. But then oh yeah, just getting back to agenda stuff. I was trying to think if there's anything else I could talk about, but I've got stuff for the fall, but I can't announce it yet because it hasn't been confirmed. So
not confirmed. Yeah,
yeah,
I get it.
yeah.
So, but yeah, me and you, I left. Let's kind of get back on track. JD's always a whirlwind, but it's awesome. But
Yeah, yeah.
I left Indignation. You basically filled in on bass right when I
Mhm.
left, and then you left Indignation. I think
I was never a member. I was there
you were just a
literally
fill in, right? You
just
were
to
just
fill in
filling
for
in.
that one show. That was it.
So yeah, so that was over with, and then
Yeah.
we started jamming in Diabolus.
We were,
And
you and I were already in Diabolus together when I did the one-off with
or
Indignation. Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
yeah, I don't see it. It's tough to remember that, man.
yeah. It is, but I mean, because I remember I was jamming with you guys and then also sweating it, trying to learn the Indignation songs at the same time, and that's the first time I ever had to double up like that, and it was stressing me out. But
Let me plug this for you. The Trenchant cassette out now from Head Split Records. If you want that on tape, that's
yes,
Dylan. I don't know if you know that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, giving
The
away
tape came out really great. I was
yeah.
really
Um,
so glad that he took us up on it. We really wanted to do it with the head splits, so that was great.
so we did how long did we did Diabolus run for? Maybe like 2 years or so, 3. I don't remember.
3 total. It wasn't very long, and I remember if anyone's from the area, we played the Cameo Theater with Severance. Actually, remember that?
God damn, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we played Cameo Theater with Severance, and then we played Wackies before it was like the Limelight and all that.
Yeah, the real wackies from way back.
Yeah. And then we played our debut show was DMZ. You were with us for that. So I think we only played like 3 shows total live.
And we should find a way to get those demos out. I don't
We can
know.
just put it up on Bandcamp, I think, you know.
Yeah.
Just,
Just
I mean,
put them up for free, right? Just let people have them.
sure. Just let people hear them or do what I think you can do that pay whatever you want. You know,
Yeah.
so
Give
you can pay
Jeff
nothing.
$1 at least,
Oh,
for the
I don't even
bother.
want, I don't even
I
want
don't even
that.
want that.
It's if it was if it was like a finished product, then yeah, but it's basically a glorified rehearsal demo, and I
Yeah.
think the riffs were really cool, but I wish we'd had a more pro version of it, but that's just the way it went, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we were just happy to get stuff out at that point.
Yeah.
Back in those days. But I always wondered like how a demo, like an actual studio recording would have went. I think it would have been a pretty damn killer release, man.
Yeah, it would have. And I mean, our guitarist vocalist Chris was really ahead of the curve for being 16. He really was a good player and a good writer.
Yes. He wrote some great songs, great riffs, heavy as hell.
Yeah. I mean,
on par with Immolation at that time and Incantation. And I thought a little Grave. Was he into Grave and all that stuff too?
Chris and I were way into Grave when we first started, into the Grave. So yeah, we started with that and then built it out more to Immolation and Incantation because we really like both of those bands. Yeah, in case you guys are wondering, if you were to hear our stuff, it sounds like Immolation, first Incantation type of thing. You know, that's really the vibe. But
yeah, really solid old school death. Well, not old school death metal because it's
just
metal.
Death metal. Yeah. That's all it is. It's just death metal.
Yeah, it's death metal. Real, death metal from the early '90s. Really early '90s. Well, Jeff, let's play a Trenchant song. What do you say?
Oh, thanks. Yeah, that'd be fine. What do you got there?
I believe I need to find it. Yellow Cross.
That's our single. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, we'll talk a little more about this and where people can get it. And my computer can catch up with me. Sorry about this. All right, here we go. Let's play this video and we'll be right back. Fuck yeah, dude. That's really fucking heavy and solid. Good job. Good job, man.
Thank
Now, where
you.
can people find the Trenchant record?
Oh, you can find us on Bandcamp. Perhaps I don't. This is so bad at promoting myself. I don't know if you just type Trenchant Bandcamp. I forget what it. I want to say it's like Trenchant 666 or something like that, because I think some other band also had that name at some point. But the album is called Command Occult. It is out on Gods of War Productions, and it's available worldwide.
And Headsplit is doing the cassette, right? I got that.
Yeah, Headsplit in the States, and up on the West Coast is doing the cassette, so you can get it through Headsplit also through their store online. Cassette's worth having. It looks really nice. It came out great.
Yes, I love the cassette. What they're doing with cassettes nowadays, man.
Yeah.
So it's just another cool option to have if you're a
The-
fan,
the
or some
only-
people just love cassettes. I'm finding that out more. You know, people,
yeah. The only thing we don't have as of yet is vinyl. We're still trying to work that out. Vinyl is so backlogged; it's taking forever for everything to come out. So I don't know. I mean, we'll figure it out. But
yeah,
I think
vinyl's a bitch. I'll admit that. It took the Pius Levis Omega Vortex from the Void comes Paranormal Death.
Yeah.
Damn, I hope I even said my own fucking shit right.
Yeah,
Like you, I
no,
kind of. Anyway, the split album is finally coming out in April, even
Oh,
though
that's great. That's really
even though
cool.
it was released in what October on
Yeah.
cassette and CD, but we'll finally have it in April, hopefully sometime. We like Barathrum? Yeah, I mean, I'm not like a super fan.
Barathrum, you mean from
Yeah,
Finland?
yeah.
Yeah.
I
They
mean,
had some cool stuff. Weird
oh yeah, I
band.
said Barathrum. Yeah, yeah, I said it with the Barathrum. I always get
I mean,
that one and
I think that's
Barathrum mixed up with the
yeah.
V. Yeah. The band, not absolute. Oh no,
Right, right.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be honest. I mean, I have not like been a big fan, or like I don't think I may own
No,
a CD or
I
two.
don't
I'm not sure.
I don't follow them. It's one of those bands where when I hear them, I'm always like, oh man, this really is cool. And I don't, I don't like actively follow them or anything.
It gets tough trying to keep up, man. Even
Yeah.
with the old stuff, the new stuff, like old stuff you missed,
Yeah.
and every once in a while
Yeah.
there'll be something like, God, how did I miss this? But it's cool. I want it, and then you hear stuff. Damn, inflation is just making it tough to to complete your collections. Everything's so damn expensive. You don't even want to order anything from overseas or out of
Oh my
country
God.
anymore. It's there's they're killing you on the mailing prices, and it just sucks, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're getting really balkanized again. Like, the world right around, I think you probably agree with this, right around like early 2000s, when the internet was finally really established and even underground metalheads were communicating by email and chat and all that stuff. Then it was still affordable to send all your shit overseas.
Oh yeah, man. You
Yeah.
could send a package on by sea, if you really wanted
Yeah.
to be a cheapskate, and
Yeah.
$4 or $5 to send
Yep.
something
Yeah.
to Europe, and now, goddamn,
Yeah.
$52 for 3, whatever CDs or something. It's outrageous.
Yep. It's like we're all going to be respectively trapped on Mars or something, where we can't communicate with each other. It's just
Yeah.
ridiculous.
So I do appreciate the distros who like work with the
Mm,
the
yeah.
European label and vice versa, just sending the bulk stuff and making it available in the US, and making our stuff available in Europe, at a reasonable price, not, like the
That's
band having to send it, over so expensive.
yeah. I mean, that's actually why we were excited to sign with a European label for Trenchant, just because, well, you know how it is. I mean, Europe's much more of a metal stronghold in like the traditional sense. We're like, I'd rather it be readily available over there first. I mean, we haven't had any problem with availability in the States. People have been
Yeah.
able to get it, no problem. But yeah, we were actually like going, okay, yeah, first and foremost, we want it out in Europe, which has actually and I don't want to brag or anything, but I'm amazed at the uptake over there, because it took forever for people to accept Averse Sefira, because they already had a corner in the market on black metal. So it took us
Oh yeah.
like once we finally toured over there the first time in 2003 with Secrets of the Moon and Watain, that got everyone clear on the idea, but it took a little bit of doing. Whereas Trenchant's getting cited by all kinds of people that I wouldn't have expected, just because I just
This is your chance. Let's name drop them. I want to hear them.
Oh, it's not that big a deal. I mean, like the founding guitarist for Sinister apparently really, really likes us, and he's been talking us up, which, I mean,
That's cool, though.
super
That's
cool,
fucking awesome.
you know.
Sinister has some great fucking records. I love Hate. That's fucking killer. Right?
Yeah, Cross the Sticks is really great too.
Oh yeah,
Um,
there you go.
and then like Nornagist from the main guy from Enthroned was posting us around, and I mean this is what JD was just talking about. You know, all these bands we're all effectively peers at the end of the day. You know, some of us
Yeah.
have better reputations than others, but we're all still in this together, and it's really really cool when older bands are looking at a band like ours and like having going, hey, check this out too. It's
This is
worth
cool
your time.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
I mean, that is cool because you hear a lot of talk about guys being in older guys in extreme metal, and like no, they don't listen to anything heavy, just like the old classics, and they don't listen to anything, and that is true for a lot of fucking people, but not everyone, man. There's still guys who still do it the right way, like support. I wish we still did the whole damn thanks list where you just get band names to check out from cool
Yeah.
nerd back. That was such a good way to find stuff.
It really was. I mean, we didn't have the internet back then either, though. So,
Good point.
I
But
mean,
an awesome band, and then like, well, they obviously need to know awesome bands, so you could easily find them now with the internet. He's just like,
yeah,
well, I never heard
that's
these
true.
guys. Let me go take a look at them.
That's true. Yeah, we're already like abandoning the thanks list for our next albums. Like we did the one. It's like the first album you do the big thanks list for everybody who like was there for the debut, and then you just do that thing. You know who you are.
Thanks to who you are.
Yes. Thanks to all the
It saves
bands.
a lot of
fans.
headache too. You don't offend anyone. Like, oh shit, I forgot this guy, or
Yeah.
I know how that goes.
That random because we were talking about it a few minutes ago. I realized I was looking back at the Here and After album came back out on like re-edition, like an official re-edition, just about 3 years ago. And I, of course, I got it because I have everything with it. Has Immolation's name on it, and they reprinted everything. The full thanks list from the album. Everything was exactly the same. And I'd forgotten that we'd actually made it onto that thanks list that early in. I was like, holy shit, that is so great. I was so excited about that, just to have any association with that awesome record. So that was really, really cool.
Which album was it?
Here and After.
Here and After. Oh, you got it. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Wow. Fuck
yeah.
I remember, I think Thornspawn was thanked on Close to a World Below, or maybe the one right after it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we played a show with them in Wackies.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Well, we've talked with them and hung out with them.
Yeah.
I think Ross knows of me throughout the years too. He's probably seen me with you, or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's still cool when you see your band name on an awesome band's thanks list. Like, oh shit, that's cool.
That's exciting.
So I mean, even some people say, "Oh, you're being rock stars." No, man, it's just cool. It's more like it's just fucking awesome, to see, it kind of pay off a little, right? To see your band fucking name in there.
Some dickhead a couple of years ago, maybe like a decade ago now, was talking shit about me, and he said, "Oh, that guy's such a name dropper." And I'm like, "Listen, it's not that I'm a name dropper. It's just that I don't know any." It's like all my friends are in bands that that's how that works. I'm sorry.
Say that again, Jeff. I think on my end I lost what you were saying.
Oh, sorry. I said it's not that I'm a name dropper. It's just I don't have any friends who aren't in bands that you don't know. I mean, it's like that's what I was saying. It's like all my friends, everybody that I hang out with, everybody I work with, they're all in bands that So if I bring somebody up even casually, it's going to be somebody you fucking heard of. I can't help it. So
what do you want me to fucking do? Not
it's like
Now some of these guys are pricks on the internet. They deserve.
Oh, well, I mean, this guy was just a fucking zero. He's probably not even listening to metal anymore. Whatever. I just thought that was funny.
Yeah. Oh, you're a name dropper because you know people. All right, let's announce this on the next Java on Thursday. It's with Noelia of Hexea and Dave of Skull Emperor. Oh, because their split's going to be coming out. Oh, that'd be a great show.
Yes.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I'll be watching that one for sure.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
It's cool to see Dave have something else going on. Besides Imprecation too.
Yeah. Yeah, that new song "Twist the Knife" is really fucking good, man.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to that split. Both those bands rule, so that's going to be another Texas heavy hitter.
Yeah, that was like a slow courtship for me coming into Imprecation. That was like,
Oh yeah,
oh yeah, that was like for almost 3 years. Like, Link came into the band and was there for just a really short time on bass, and then he left. And then they had their bassist from who was also the frontman of Adumas. He was in there again, not again, but no, he was in. And then it sounded like he was on his way out, and Dave asked me if I'd be interested in doing it, and I said absolutely. And then it like took almost 2 more years for that to actually happen.
oh really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So
now how is Imprecation function? Like, obviously you got to go to Houston to practice, right?
yeah, Nick and I we just drive up there. I mean, we only do it periodically. I mean, things have changed dramatically since Ruben died, because
Sure.
Imprecation, Ruben, okay, I'm gonna make sure everybody hears this. Ruben was Imprecation. We don't have any illusions about that. It was him and Dave. I mean, they're the two remaining members. They were the ones who got the band back up and running. Ruben, of course, he was the heart and soul of the band. It was his fucking band.
He was there from day one, right?
He is the founder. And
Yeah.
most of the riffs and most of the lyrics and most of the concepts were all his. I mean, everybody contributed, but I mean, Ruben was the one who, people don't know this about the guy. He was really prolific, and I mean, he had such an incredible sense of what it is. He knew what the right sound was. He knew what Imprecation sounded like and what wasn't Imprecation. So if anyone was bringing something to him, it either had to become that sound or it couldn't make it in. He had the last word.
He knew what his band sounded like because it's his project.
Oh yeah, which is why it sounds so amazingly consistent from then to now. And we all practiced in his shed, which was basically like a museum because it had all the pictures and all the flyers and everything he'd ever done in there. And we practiced in a shed at his house. So when he died, we moved over to where our current drummer, Matt Hefner, jams, which is a really historic jam complex near downtown. And so now it's like, Nick and I, we just drive up together and go. And then Milton, our the other guitarist, he and Matt will get together and practice, and we just kind of do it as needed. I mean, we all practice at home, all that kind of thing.
Oh, so, it's good too that you and Nick are at least in the same city, because if you can work out, the riffs together with each other or practice together too.
We never do that. It's so funny. I mean, for Trenchant we do. I mean, he and I will get together and we work on riffs and all that kind of thing. Imprecation, we don't do that. We practice independently, and the only time we jam is when we're up there with the rest of the guys. So,
well, fucking works. It works. That's the great thing about it, man.
Yeah, Nick came in ice cold to make his debut at Destroying Texas Fest, and that was a really particularly well attended one. And I think he practiced with the band twice before we
really. Wow.
He really broke out in a huge way on that. That was like his real. I mean, Nick was in Morgengrau before that, and he did a great job with that. With Erica and. But I mean, I really felt like that was really him coming into his own when he showed up in Imprecation and just hit it out of the park. And Ruben was really worried because, he didn't know Nick, and Nick was in Austin and the whole thing. And
how many practices? You said two practices?
Yeah, but on the first practice, Nick was ready and he came in and played all the material, and Ruben was just bowled over. He's like, oh man, he's great. And that was off to the races, and that's where we're at.
And Nick even goes back to Plutonian Shore here in San Antonio.
Nick played in Plutonian Shore and Morgengrau kind of at the same period. I mean, Morgengrau was like effectively his debut band. And then, yeah, he played in Plutonian Shore. He played shortly with Trench Warfare. And then he came up with the idea, the kind of the root concept for Trenchant, and just showed me his demos. And I just went, can I do this with you? And that was just that. We just immediately started.
That's awesome when that happens.
It's worth telling that story. Yeah. And we decided immediately that the only guy we wanted to play it was Aldo, because I'd never gotten to be in a band with Aldo, and he and I had talked for years about having a reason to jam.
That answers Fraser's question, by the way. He kept saying it's all in the band. It's like, no, I was waiting for him to correct himself. Yes, it's Aldo. He's the drummer.
Yeah, and we were really, really glad that he agreed to do it, because when we wrote all the demo material just with the drum machine, I was, I did all the programming, and I was mimicking Aldo's style, and I'm going, if he doesn't agree to do it, I don't know what we're gonna do. It's dependent on his presence for the sound.
Sure.
So,
yeah, it's like, I wrote this with him in mind to play.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, and you've seen him. That he's a phenomenon. That guy.
Oh, dude, he's fucking great on drums.
Yeah. And he's so colorful. I mean, he's like up there with Prescriptor, with all the improvisation and all the taking a lot of wild chances with the playing. He's not a conservative player at all. I mean, he's not a player, but you know what I'm saying. He's a very bold player, and I love jamming with him. He's amazing.
Great choice. Does Houston? Oh, we're getting a delay here. Do you hear it on your end, or is it?
No, I hear you fine.
Okay, I guess I'll just have to deal with it. Yeah, Houston always has this great crop of musicians.
Yep.
San Antonio, not so much. Not slamming the city. It's just like there's just more cool people in Houston to pull from than there is in bands. I know they all half of them are in the same bands, but still, it's just cool. Houston has a really vibrant fucking metal scene.
I explained that to somebody recently, talking about how San Antonio did not have a great tradition of bands. I mean, they had a few, but I mean, let's face it. I mean, it's cool that people are like talking about Hell Preacher now and stuff like that. And, locally we were, but I mean, that wasn't like a nationwide phenomenon or anything,
No.
And
we had Hell Preacher, Bloodspill, and that's all now.
Yeah.
Back then, it was this really in San Antonio. It wasn't outside of that.
Right. So the way I was
describing, a delay on my mic.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, great. That's weird.
Killing technology.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I'm
back.
I'm
still doing it.
hosting.
I may have to leave and come back in to fix it. So
okay.
What we're gonna do, play some music.
Yeah.
We'll play some Averse Sefira, and hopefully when I come back, this will be taken care of. So just hang tight. I'll be back. All right, everyone. Sorry about that. That just came out of nowhere. Did it finally stop?
Is it because you're hearing me?
Oh no, it just started happening. It's StreamYard. It just gets wonky sometimes. Does weird shit.
Runs out of data.
Yeah. It's like back to the front of the line. Here we go. Let's play some Dissension. That's a nice song. Hopefully we won't get hit with anything.
Well, hey, everybody. It looks like I'm here by myself. I'll take the opportunity to say what I was going to say before we started playing the song while Carl gets his feedback up. But the thing about San Antonio is, oh, there you are.
Sorry, I get.
I started telling a
It's
story.
still doing it again. Good Lord.
Damn.
Maybe if I just talk low, it won't be so bad. But go ahead, finish your story. We'll try that again.
All I was going to say was just that the way I described San Antonio to people is that it did not have a huge well of really impactful bands, but it had an amazing fan culture. And San Antonio, as a place, as a destination point for other bands that were on tour, I remember like, you know, it was always discussed in all the magazines, like, oh man, the kids in San Antonio were crazy. You know, we always loved playing there. So many bands said that. So that's kind of our claim to fame. And growing up there was amazing. I mean, it was basically the outpost headquarters for Slayer outside of Los Angeles. I mean, I don't think there was a bigger single fan base of Slayer fans than San Antonio. I don't know if any of you watching right now got to see Slayer in the 80s. I didn't get to see them until 1991 on the Clash of the Titans tour because I was a little bit younger. That was when I was first able to go to shows at all. You know, my mom wouldn't drive me, so I finally, when I was 16, was able to do that. At the Sunken Gardens in San Antonio, if you've ever been there, that's just a big open air arena kind of, well, not an amphitheater, that's what you'd call it. And it had the big concrete slab in front of the stage, like, you know, the pit area. How you doing there, Carl?
It's still there, right? Yeah, I hear it. God damn.
I don't hear anything. You sound fine.
It's good on your end, but they're hearing it in the chat, and I'm hearing it. I don't got it on YouTube, so I don't know what the hell happened. So if you don't mind, Jeff, I'm going to have to reboot my whole computer, maybe. If you just want to keep talking, it shouldn't take too long.
Okay. No problem.
I'll plug whatever you need to plug or keep on with your story, but I'll be back, everyone.
Okay. Thanks. Good thing I'm used to this in a pinch, public speaking. Anyway, got to go see Slayer at Clash of the Titans in San Antonio at the Sunken Gardens on the concrete slab, just the open pit area in front of the stage. And it was summertime, so it was probably like 96 degrees, even at 6 p.m. Alice in Chains opened the show, and we had to hang on to the barrier, wait for them to finish. And then, if you remember, Clash of the Titans had a rotating lineup. So it was Anthrax, Megadeth, and Slayer. And nobody knew who was going to come out first, and they didn't announce it. And it turned out Slayer came out first, which was kind of disappointing. I mean, it was cool, but it was also disappointing. They were on the Seasons in the Abyss tour, of course, and they came out, and it was still very hot, still mostly full sun. And of course, they destroyed the place. And the audience, it was like one of those CIA experiments where they like figure out how, what threshold of temperature will make people homicidal, because people were freaking out. I mean, there was just literally people killing each other in the pit. They were just, I mean, fights everywhere. There was a guy on meth right in the front who was freaking out. And then some kid next to him who had one of those old type of like plaster wrist casts. I guess he broke his forearm. And the meth guy's freaking out. The kid with the cast is like hitting the guy, the meth head guy, with the cast and clubbing him with that. This is, of course, before they ever did anything like spray the audience with a hose to revive them from all the heat. And so I actually started to faint at one point because I was not right up against the barrier. I was kind of like two people back, and then people behind me were crushing. So I'm just sort of moving continuously and about to pass out and throw up. And I just kind of went, and started to fall back. And some guy yelled, "Get him out of here." And like, they kind of just hoisted me up, and I crowd surfed in reverse to a spot a little bit further from the stage and watched from there. It was pandemonium. And talking about Slayer,
I thought it must have been a
Clash of the Titans in 1991. It was so funny. Tom was so high because it was 6 p.m. because they were the first band out. So he was probably still doing his afternoon bake when they had to get on stage. So his stage banter was so funny because he just kept going, "So how's it going?" That's basically all he said. After each song, he'd finish, they'd play, and he's like, "So how's it going?" That was about it. So, I mean, the audience was going crazy every time he opened his mouth. They was like, "Yeah, Slayer, fucking Slayer!" That was San Antonio. Whatever the band was, it would just always be that voice, like fucking Cannibal Corpse, fucking Sepultura. I miss those days so much.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. Fucking, and no matter what show, there was always a guy just yelling Slayer.
Yeah. That was always a good one too. Fucking Slayer. What's the question?
Yeah, answer that. I'm gonna try something else here, and hopefully I'm gonna take off.
Are we still having a problem?
Yeah, I still hear it on my end.
I'm gonna have to be an old man and actually read this with glasses.
That's fine.
Dylan wants to know, what do you think it would be like if they'd use Steve Ashheim's real drum track instead of their Morrisound sampling? You mean on the first album? My understanding is that this is based on a podcast interview I heard with Scott Burns fairly recently. They did not do by any means full replacement. Scott said that Steve was a very, very competent drummer, and that he said he had to Frankenstein a lot of bands from that era that their tracks together, but he said Steve was not one of them. So I know they used the Morrisound sampling on his kicks just for clarity, but everything Steve was playing was on there. And I got to watch Steve play from the side of the stage, at least for part of it, during Mass Destruction Fest. And I'd never gotten to see him up close playing like that. And he was relentless. He was playing everything just full on. He even did some stuff I didn't really appreciate. Like, if you're not a drum nerd, I mean, I'm not a drum nerd, but if you don't really know much about drums, you can't really appreciate this. But he was doing a one-handed roll with his tom. Like, drummers, they go with both sticks. He was doing this one where he was doing the tom roll and rolling, with the snare at the same time, where he just didn't pick up his hand, and he was doing a one-handed snare roll, and that was insane. I was like, I didn't even know he was doing all that. So, that was incredible. That dude's rock solid. That's all I can say. He's been playing for 30 years and he's never lost a step. He's incredible. He and Dave Lombardo are my two absolute favorite drummers. They're both bulletproof. Everything that Dave touches live is just unstoppable. He's in Testament now. I haven't seen any footage. I'm not that into Testament, but I'm sure he makes it sound like $1 million. I mean, I've got nothing but massive admiration for that guy, and Steve for sure. Dylan, in case you're wondering, and a lot of people
I'm talking about the self-titled album now.
The self-titled, yeah. No, that's okay. That's what I thought you were talking about. Okay, yeah, sure. I don't think it was full replacement. I think it was just enhanced for the kicks, but everything else was as played. So, and yeah, you want to talk about a game changer, Carl? You remember this? Think about like bands like Malevolent Creation and Cannibal Corpse and stuff like that. When they came out on the first album, they were all doing like the Dark Angel style skank beat, all Gene Hoglan, like and then Deicide came out, and then think about the second Malevolent Creation album. Think about the second Cannibal Corpse album. Suddenly, everyone's flying double bass. Steve Ashheim, and to a slightly lesser degree, Pete Sandoval. I think they both set that template.
Everybody, drummers had to either step up or get left in the dust.
Yeah, and some of them weren't happy about it. I tell you.
I know. I can't figure out this echo problem, so we're just gonna have to deal with it. So it is what it is.
That seems to be only on your end. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let me read Dylan's thing here. Sex and music for the Dave Lombardo Mike Patton band is awesome, but Mike Patton's vocals suck ass. The drums are great. Yes. Yeah, Dave plays in bands that I don't care about, and I still think he's makes them sound better. I don't care about suicidal tendencies at this point, but he makes their material sound fucking awesome.
I didn't hear about suicidal after the first album.
No, me neither.
Like, there's a couple fun songs here and there, but yeah.
What I like to do is just go onto YouTube and look at Dave Lombardo drum cams of him playing Suicidal or whatever, and it's awesome.
He's only going to make the band better, no matter what band he joins. He's going to make it better.
Yeah. I have a soft spot for Mike Patton. I know a lot of people think he's really obnoxious and what have you, but when I first started my radio show back in '95, Faith No More was a band that I got to interview. They just solicited, they were doing press, and they said, "Hey, you want to come interview Faith No More?" And I was like, "Sure." And they were on like their third album at this point or something. And I went on their tour bus and hung out with Mike Patton for like almost an hour. And
no shit.
He was the nicest guy. I was 19 and I was nervous, and I had just done an interview with this different, bigger name band that I didn't really know very well. And the guy was really difficult to deal with. And it wasn't a good interview, and it wasn't a good experience for me. And Mike was just so cool and really supportive. And part of the reason I stayed kind of into writing about metal and kind of whatever metal journalism, I don't really do that, but just writing about it and doing it was because he encouraged me. So I will always hold that dude in high regard. He was so awesome. They gave me tickets to the show, and they were actually really amazing live. I only saw them the once, and they were really a talented band. But yeah, I know a lot of people don't like them, but I still always a soft spot for that.
Here's a comment from Roy. Too bad all this band sucks, but Gene Hoglan is a legend. He held the drum brick on the Show No Mercy playing. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
What bands suck?
Probably like Malevolent Creation and all that stuff.
Oh man, the first two Malevolent Creation albums are amazing. Retribution is such a killer album. The first one.
Too, man. Rules, man.
Yeah, those first two albums are really good. That's kind of the story of death metal in general from back then. It's like, the first two albums are really good. It's everybody is like,
All right, let's try this song again.
Okay.
We'll try to get this audio figured out. So let me get back into the video files here. Sorry, everyone. Technical difficulties. Now I just gotta find it. Fucking lost it. This delays on driving up the fucking wall. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's play some of Averse Sefira, Jeff's black metal band. What years were you active in this? Was the band
1996 to 2012.
Okay. Yeah.
And this was our last album that you're about to play.
All right. Let's see. right, we're back. Can you hear me good this time?
Yeah, is that better?
Yeah, I'm not hearing a delay on my end, so
Good deal.
where it was, we cleared it up. So yeah, that was Dissension, right? From Avant Parallax, your last album, and that was on Candlelight Records, correct?
Candlelight Records in 2008.
Damn, it's been that long.
It's,
that was a big deal, I thought, for you guys to get on Candlelight. And
yeah, it started opening doors, but definitely. I mean, well, I think the biggest highlight of being on Candlelight was when we got to be direct support for Emperor. That was amazing.
That's how many shows that was in New York City?
Yes.
You're right. Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was.
And that's what Emperor, like, kind of being good emperors. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, they weren't as, they were still very clean, I guess, but not as clean as they are now. Obviously, I mean, whatever.
Yeah,
they were great.
Cool.
We were playing right down in like the, on basically in the theater district in New York City. Like that was the funniest thing ever, because that show was sold out. I mean, it was at this really nice club called BB King's. We played there a couple of times, but it was really a high ticket kind of place. Completely sold out. My parents were there, my father and my stepmother.
I remember you telling me about that. That's right.
And I mean, he had seen us play before, and we'd always had a good showing. But I mean, that my father was a big fan of New York. He'd been there a million times, taken me there a million times. Really big into theater and Broadway and all that type of stuff. So to see me playing down there, that blew his mind. he thought we were so much bigger than we were. That
well, let him believe it, right? He's fucking,
yeah.
Man. But that's so
really
cool
great.
to impress your parents like that, because that's one thing I kind of find I can't say I regret, because it wasn't on me, but it's one of those things I wish it could have happened. Is I wish my parents could have seen me play at least one show.
Yeah.
They never went out to go see a show or anything like that. So for your dad to see it under those circumstances, that's actually fucking pretty awesome, dude.
Yeah. It was also really cool because he was living up on the East Coast, and he would find ways to bring me up whenever he encountered somebody that he could tell was a metalhead, and inevitably they saw us play the Emperor show. They're like, "Oh my God, I saw them in New York with the Emperor." So that was just so funny. Just everybody, he'd walk around, and if he ever mentioned us up there, then there was always that connection. And it was so funny because he didn't think we were making a lot of money on it, but I mean, he was just like, everybody knows who you are. He was just very, very excited about that, which was very touching.
I mean, that's awesome to have that experience, dude. That's very cool. Now with Averse Sefira, let's go into a little history.
Mm-hmm.
I remember you did your demo. What was that, like in 96, 97?
96. Yeah.
96. Then
after Alex kicked me out of Thorn Spawn.
No, didn't you quit?
Huh?
Didn't you quit?
No, yes. I was going to school and the commute was too hard.
Yeah.
But then I offered to still find a way to help out or whatever, and he just completely fucking yeah.
Well, you didn't offer your blood and soul, so there you go.
No, and I also had the audacity to get a whatever, like a 5-star review with Averse Sefira in Terrorizer magazine. That was when he so that's when that went wrong.
There was a lot of weird things going on back then.
Yeah.
With if people in the underground, they know. Yeah. We don't even get into all that. But
right.
Yeah.
I
don't talk much about Thorn Spawn on here either.
That's cool. I mean, we're just getting back into the history, and I'm not.
But that is true. Yeah, you were in Thorn Spawn for a hot minute playing bass.
And this is one that you won't hear very much. Well, maybe from you, but I produced the debut demo. Yeah.
The Dacian Empire.
Yeah, and God, that was cool.
Jeff recorded it on his 4-tracker. That's correct.
Yes, I sat. This is a great story. It was in Alex's garage, and you guys recorded. We did all the tracking in one day, and I sat there with the 4-track in my lap on a Home Depot bucket in the driveway. And you guys would shut the door, record your tracks, finish, and then everybody was doing everything individually. And then you had that great vocalist. I forget his name.
Chris or Steve.
Chris.
What's Steve?
Steve. He was amazing. He was like he was the second coming of Dead. I swear, he had such a vibe. That guy, really great.
I think we did one show with him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it was DMZ. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. It was. We talked about this before. It was cool with him. It was all natural because he was mainly a death metal dude, so his ideal wasn't really influenced by any of the black metal that was out there at the time. He just went in and did his thing organically, and it came out awesome.
I'll never forget that too, because that taught me something. I was like, this guy's got his finger on the pulse, because it was already nightfall by the time he was going to do because he was doing vocals last. And he went into the garage and got ready to shut the door, and it was completely dark. And I said, hey, don't you want to turn the light on? You're going to be able to see what you're doing. He's like, no, I want it this way. And he just shut the door and just did the whole thing in pitch darkness. And that was super cool. Yeah.
The fucking blackness of black metal right there. It's organic, it wasn't some for show or anything like that.
No, that was a really cool recording. I thought that was so cool to be there for that. And I mean, admittedly, that gave me the kind of the insight I needed to then record our demo, because I was like, okay, now I got a feel for how this needs to be, and
that's right, because your demo came out next. Right after,
pretty quickly.
Right after it.
Yeah.
So it was always like, I would say, like bands competitiveness, in bands. Mm-hmm. Some people in the bands a little more than others, but there was always like, but in my mind, I thought it was like a healthy competitiveness, you know what I mean? But then, certain things start getting crazy and whatever, but good old days, right?
Yeah. So quick history. 1996, we recorded the first demo, then recorded our first album, self-produced that in 1999. Second album was
the first album.
That was self-released on our own imprint called Aragare. That was Homecoming's March.
It wasn't reissued. I thought it was reissued on somebody's.
It was reissued by Evil Horde Records in Brazil.
Okay.
Back in the early 2000s, and then we did our second album with Lost Disciple in 2001. Did the third album in 2006 with Evil Horde, and then ended up on 2005, and then ended up with Evil Horde. We recruited Necromorbis of Funeral Mist, Watain, Offermod production fame. And he came and did the third and the fourth album, which is why they.
And you can hear it. It sounds
He's brilliant.
They sound really. I mean, would you even think, if you didn't know, would you even think that was an American black metal band? Because even what was going on in a lot of the U.S. black metal then didn't sound like that.
Right.
I was way more of a European black metal than the U.S. black metal, because U.S. black metal usually just has some type of more death metal sound to it.
And this isn't a criticism, but I would say, a lot of American black metal has that kind of squarish death metal riffing, which that's fine. That's what we came from. That's our legacy. But yeah, Sam was really Sam wrote the bulk of the material, and he was really an unconventional thinker. So it wasn't meant to sound European, but it had that same kind of arty study.
I think too, it made Sam like different from a lot of the guys is he really didn't start playing guitar until he really wanted to play black metal, right? Like he didn't like do the thrash jigga, like a lot of us started out and all that. He
Yeah.
started with black metal, which is, you know, that
And-
was his starting point. And that was also, I think, like a kind of an advantage he kind of had, because his mind wasn't, it was not even going there on the death metal riffage or the thrash
Yeah.
riffage and all that. But of course, I love all that shit. I love, you know, thrash out riffs and all that.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
But I think for him, that's what made it work for him, man. He started on a different playing field.
Definitely. And I mean, he broke a lot of rules, you know, because he was an unconventional player and he didn't have that thrash or death metal background at all. I mean, he loved all that stuff, but he never played in any
Sure.
bands. Averse Sefira was his one and only band. And when he wrote the material for the demo and he was showing it to me in his room in his apartment, you know, he had the little practice amp. He started playing it for me, and I was just like, oh my God, you know, I just couldn't believe it. It was so good, and he, you know, he was a great lyricist, great conceptualist. I mean, you know, we really, he was really one of a kind. I mean, a lot of people at the end compared him to kind of like the black metal equivalent of like someone like Piggy, you know, from Voivod, and I really agree. You know, he had that same.
That's actually a pretty good description. I would.
Yeah,
because there's some unconventional, definitely unconventional, you know, but it works. It sounds great in the context of y'all's band. It was fucking perfect.
I'll never forget how. Okay, you probably remember this. Remember the band, you know, the band Death Spell Omega. How for the first like 4 releases, they sounded like a really good Dark Throne clone, you know, and then they came out with Si Requiris Monumentum. And then it was so funny because I got that album and I had heard an advance from MKM from Antaeus of what was supposed to be the next Death Spell Omega record, and it still sounded like a good Dark Throne clone. And I was like, oh, that's going to be a good one. And then I picked it up, and then it was the thing that, you know, everybody knows. And Sam and I are sitting there listening. Sorry.
It blew up.
Yeah. Sam and I were sitting there listening to that album, and we looked at each other, and I just said, why do they sound like us now? You know, and I don't think they were ripping us off, but it was suddenly like we were doing this very weird thing, and then suddenly other black metal bands were coming out in like the mid O's and suddenly doing that too. And it was ironic because people didn't get
and all that started coming out of nowhere, and you know, it wasn't your typical power chording and all that.
No, just all those weird fractured chords. And it ended up helping us because then people were able to understand more of what we were doing the entire time. So it actually, I'll have to give them their due. Bands like Death Spell Omega made it easier for us to exist because people are like, okay, I get it now, you know, that kind of thing. So
now, what do you remember about your first European tour when like Watain was a fucking underground beast, you know, not like what they are now? Not saying, you know, not slamming them. I'm just saying they were like underground fucking.
Oh, very much. I can.
Let's talk about that tour, what you did with them, and what Secrets of the Moon was on it.
Secrets of the Moon, yeah, and that was in 2003. I can't believe that this fall it's going to be 20 years since we did that tour.
Wow, dude!
Jesus,
20 years.
Okay, so it was really funny because I went over and played in Germany with Krieg in 2001, and that was with, you know, Akhenaten from Judas Iscariot put the tour together with Krieg and Godless North and Inquisition, and that was Inquisition's debut in Europe. That was Krieg's debut in Europe. That was a big deal, and the kind of the regional opener for the whole tour was Secrets of the Moon. And they were, if you guys haven't checked out Secrets of the Moon, like their early stuff, like Stronghold of the Inviolables, please do. It's really great. Great black metal. Very, very kind of like what Averse Sefira was doing conceptually, much more esoteric. And I really love that material. I loved Secrets of the Moon. I thought they were excellent. And I was like, that's a band that Averse Sefira could tour with. So I immediately went talking to them. I said, we got to do something. And so we spent, you know, the better part of a year trying to figure it out. And we started laying the groundwork. And we went, we got to have one other really good band for this. Somebody who hasn't really been out there, but, you know, could bring a crowd and maybe attract people. And I said, hey, Wattain's really cool, and I know them a little bit. You know, I just kind of met them more recently. I had met them when we played in the Czech Republic, and they came out to see us. And I said, why don't we ask them if they'd like to do it? And it was, you'd never imagine this now, but when we emailed Eric, he was like, wow, really? You guys want us to be on your tour? That's so cool. Yeah, we'd love to do it. You know, he was like, everyone was super humble and just excited to be involved. I mean, all of us, you know, and things that, I mean, that was a true underground tour, like a true collaboration, because all three bands, we rotated every night. And we got to the point where we were arguing about who was going to headline, but not the way you'd think. We were all arguing about, no, you should headline. You guys are really killing it. And everybody, yeah, we were all like, everybody's like, no, you headline. No, you need to headline. You know, a lot of that. I mean, it was fantastic. And Wattain was the band to beat, though. They were the ringers. They already had a buzz over there. I mean, we all did really well, and it was a great showing for all the bands. But Wattain was really clearly on the rise already, because
that was like literally,
yeah.
First and just come out, or was it out? Or
yeah, it had been out for Rabid Death's Curse had been out for 3 years, and on that tour, Castus Luciferi was released.
Oh shit! Wow. Okay.
Like the first week of the tour, Castus Luciferi, they like got a box shipped to them on the tour and had those. So that material is brand new, and God, it was exciting to hear all that for the first time
ever.
Playing
that stuff live when you're touring with them.
Yep.
Wow. Very cool.
Yeah, and the part that I loved telling more than anything was that to really capture the spirit of how it went was that at the end of the tour on the final night, we all got together in a room, sat down, and divided the losses. Literally, that's how it went. We all took a bath on that tour, even though the tour was successful. But we had, you know, RVs breaking down, we had gear breaking down, we had, you know, we got ripped off by a couple of promoters, you know, all kinds of shit like that. So we actually literally sat down and went, we lost this much money, and we divided it up, and, you know, all three bands ate it. And that was really that's the underground right there. I think in 1992, I remember reading in Metal Maniacs, like when Creator came out with, maybe it was 91, when Creator came out with Coma of Souls, and they were interviewed in Metal Maniacs, and Milla said that Coma of Souls was the first time he didn't have to work a day job and be in the band. And this is Creator we're talking about. And I looked at that and went, I'm still okay with this. I still want to do this.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't give a fuck. So, yeah, that's the whole thing. And man, that tour was amazing. And that was the first time.
That tour like really put Wattain on the touring map in Europe.
It did. It did. They had only played like a mini tour with like the band Unpure. Like they'd played like a handful of dates in the mainland, but that was the first thing they ever did. And probably for the 30th anniversary, I've got I've posted up photos before from that tour. Some of them are really classic. And I'm going to maybe do like a whole, you know, proper dump of them. And then I've got all this live footage that I don't think most of it has made it up to the net. So I'll probably put it all on YouTube for everybody to see for the 30th anniversary.
That'd be awesome. I think people would like that, dude.
Yeah. Just that, God, that was one of the greatest things that we ever did as a band, was just to go on that tour. We had the best.
And it's totally it was totally underground. Totally.
Yeah.
Underground.
And we booked it ourselves. I mean, we booked everything ourselves. We booked all the gear, all the transportation, all the dates. Oh, that's a good one. We posted the dates online, you know, and Hervé from Osmos reached out to us, and he goes, listen, you're playing in the south of France in Perpignan, and then you're playing the next day in Ypres. We weren't even going to play in Paris. We couldn't get a date going there. And Ypres is up in Belgium on the other side of, so that's kind of like trying to drive through Texas all the way from the bottom to the top to get to the next show. He goes, you're never going to make it.
Hot tour dates, you know?
Yeah.
That's what we do. Like, oh, it's 17 hours. We can do it.
Yeah. So that's exactly what happened. because he was like, "Going, you guys are never going to make it. You're never going to make it. You'll never make it through France in time." And we did. We left the show at 3 a.m, and then we got to Ypres at 7 o'clock at night, just in time to start playing. So,
wow.
That was brutal.
Been in that boat, literally pulling up to the club and then loading on stage and tuning up, and now you're playing. Yeah.
Yep.
Those are tough. Yeah, I think what did we do in HOD? I think we booked like San Francisco.
Oh boy.
It was either it was San Francisco and then LA the next day.
That's always an awesome move. Yeah.
Well, it's in California.
Yeah. Well, there's
it's a
nothing
long
in
time.
between. There's nothing in between. There's no place to play in between.
And don't ever do New Orleans to Miami the next day either. That's a
Oh my God. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Woo.
I did it. We pulled it off, but
Was that the campaign for
No, this was just a hot other. That was
okay.
like, I think we just went like to Houston, New Orleans, and Miami. And then we came back because we had never played Miami.
Yeah.
We're like, let's go to Miami, because I think HOD like almost played every like major city in the U.S. I'm not gonna say every single thing, but Miami was something we just wanted to check off on our list, so we did it. But that was a terrible drive. I mean, it was fun, but damn, it was rough. Very rough trying to get there in time.
Yeah.
So I know that feeling, but I can only imagine in Europe though, because it's not even the U.S. It's navigating through a whole other country.
Well, the main thing was just that the distance was really far, and then there's also parts of France that are really congested, especially up near the Paris corridor. So just physically getting through there was really hard, especially in an RV.
Were you guys driving yourselves too through the store?
Oh yeah.
Damn, turn driving and all that. Yeah, that's rough. No feeling.
So many things went wrong. We had some Secrets of the Moon had some buddies who came along. A couple of them really didn't have their shit together at all. In RVs, there's like a water intake, so you can use the sink and the shower. You have to like use a little water hose pump and put the water in to the side of the RV. It's like its own input.
Part. Yeah.
Right. And then, of course, there's the gas tank further back, where you normally put the gas. The one guy from Secrets of the Moon's crew, and I don't remember his name. I mean, I'm not trying to say anything nasty. It just, I don't know what he was thinking. We were all exhausted. He took the gas pump and forced it physically into the water intake and pumped the water intake full of gas. So then we're like, okay, we can't use the water in this, because we had 3 RVs, and we're like, no, 2 RVs in Wateen's little van. And we're like, okay, so we can't use the water in the RVs. And then we're like going down the road, and we hit a bump, and then in the middle of the night, and we heard this, because like the seals on the sink in the shower had dissolved from the gasoline. So there's gasoline water spraying into the inside of the RV. So yeah, that was messed up. I don't know how we didn't end up being charged like tens of thousands of dollars for the damage that we did. I really don't. I don't know how we got away with it.
Can you imagine once you figured out, like, did these fucking guys put gasoline in there?
and then we found out later that like a couple of the guys in Wateen were because Wateen's van broke, and then we put them in our RV, so we're all just in there, just like laying next to each other, like on the little couches and everything, just trying to like get some sleep. Found out later a couple of the guys in Wateen were like jerking off and just wiping it all over the curtains and all over the bed, the edge of the bed frame, and oh my God. I mean, not while we were laying right next to them, to be clear, but yeah,
just the fact of it.
Yeah,
pretty gross.
That was before, a band like Wateen like had like groupies and stuff. Everyone's still jerking off, I'm sure they'd love me telling that story, but it's pretty funny. I mean, they they were like 19. Okay, so let me make that disclaimer right now. They were literally
like
still.
kids,
They were kids. They were kids. I mean, we weren't that much older. I mean, I was like 26, and Eric was like 19. So was Pella. So yeah, I mean, they were very young. So we're talking about a group of kids who came out for this adventure, and they were amazing. I mean, people get, like we were talking about said earlier, say what you want, but I've got a lot of respect for Watain. They're still my friends to this day, of course, and they worked really, really hard for what they've got. They earned it the hard way. So I don't begrudge them any of their success. Absolutely not.
They went out there and took it by the world by the balls and did their thing. You can, I know everybody can say, oh, hot topic, black metal, and I don't even agree with any of that. I don't think it's true.
No,
I mean,
no. They hit it really hard, and people do not know how much they had to scrape, and like basically be semi-homeless, like living in their rehearsal space without without a proper water source and things like that for a long time. I mean, and this is well into the 2000s I'm talking about. They really had to work and struggle to get to where they are. So I want to give them full credit for that.
Yeah, I remember getting I think it was in maybe 98. I got my first email from Eric.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, hey, I can't remember what word from, but basically, summarizing, it was like, let's do a trade. I heard some Thorn Spawn and it's sick. I play in a band called Watain, and let's do a trade or something like that. Way back. And I've been in touch with him since, on and off. And they're always cool because he, and you probably know this. Like every time they come to town, he's always offering. If you want to. If they can, they'll, you can open, you want to open the show on this date or this, this guy is always supportive of, his friends and underground bands to this day.
Those guys don't forget their friends. It's very true. They've never acted like they were too good for the people they came up with. So again, nothing but good things to say about those guys.
And as you probably know too, he has the same freaking email address from like 98.
Yes. Yep, he sure does. He still checks it.
Yeah, is that fucking cool? Because most of us, I changed my email probably like 10 times since that. Fucking date. That's funny. So when Averse Sefira came to an end, you decided to go a totally different route. And right, you started Birth AD.
Yeah. Well, you remember when you first, you weren't even around for that. Before Diabolus happened, before you joined us, Chris and I and Afshin, our drummer, we were actually a thrash band called Afterbirth. And we did that we did a couple of demos of that. And that was basically just us learning how to play songs together. It was nothing essential at all. Learning how to play our instruments, learning how to play together. Afshin learned how to play drums, playing that material, and it basically doesn't exist. I have tapes of it, but it's not. It's kids learning how to play their instruments.
Yeah, your first bands and shit.
But we had some cool ideas and definitely some cool lyrics, and that's when Averse Sefira was starting to lull, and it felt like it was uncertain if we were going to proceed after we did the fourth album. And Mark and I both still wanted to just jam and keep playing and keep our chops up. And I had been thinking about I'd always wanted to do a proper thrash band, like a crossover thrash band like SOD or DRI or something like that. And I'd wanted to do that before that whole retro thrash thing happened. And then,
when I first met you, I remember you loved SOD.
Oh yeah. Oh no, that was my thing. Carl can attest that from day one, I was really, really into that. So
big time.
That was one of my favorites. It still is. And I remember like bands like Municipal Waste first came out, and I got really mad. I went, fuck this shit. I'm going to actually do this and get it on the record. So I just said to Mark, hey, you want to just do a little side thing? And then that's where the name came from, because we were called Afterbirth. Nobody knows this, but we were called Afterbirth originally. So I called it Birth AD because it was like after birth, but the other way. Get it? Birth AD. It was just a play on itself.
Yeah.
In fact, I even used the original logo and redesigned it to say Birth AD instead of Afterbirth. So anyway, yeah, so we did an EP, and then that turned into the full length, and that was a dream come true, because I mean, literally, I've been wanting to do that since I was 14 years old. We actually went and recorded the full length with Alex Perialis, who produced, oh God, Nuclear Assault, Anthrax, Testament,
Run them off. There's some great ones.
Carnivore. He did everybody. He basically did everybody except Metallica, and he even did like he did the Metallica. When Metallica was on Megaforce, he assisted on engineering on one of those.
SOD, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, that was going to say. And most importantly, he did Speak English or Die. Speak English or Die was his A-bomb. And so...
I mean, one of the heaviest guitar tones ever to put the vinyl, dude. Unreal heaviness. I still love that guitar tone.
And I dreamed of doing an album with him. I was like, oh, one day I'll do an album with Alex Perialis, just like SOD. And I called him up, and I decided, okay, this is time. It was 2011. It was coming up on 2012, and I just went, I want to do this. And I called him at his studio, and I think it was his wife. She took a message, and I left my name and left the name of the band. And he called me back in about 15 minutes, and he goes, hey, he's like, this is Alex. You wanted to do an album with me? And I'm like, well, yeah, if you're interested, here's what I got going. He goes, oh, I already looked you up on YouTube. You guys got the goods. Come on up. I'm like, okay. And this is maybe something you don't know, Carl. The gear that SOD used to record that album, that was not Scott Ian's amplifier. That was Alex's gear. And he said he brought this Marshall out, and it had all these extra modded switches on it. And I'm like, whoa, what's this? He goes, well, you want the Speak English or Die sound, right? This is it. I'm like, oh my God. I was like, is this the amp that Scott used? He's like, oh yeah, it's my amp. It's not his. He's like, starts plugging it in. And I was just like, holy shit.
Wow.
Yeah. And so he gave us he actually used the exact same settings from Speak English or Die for the bass and the guitar. And then like the rig I played through was a touring rig from Deep Purple. So I used this huge bass stack from the Deep Purple.
Sure, it's outrageous. Yeah,
that was nuts.
So that's like a straight up old school professional recording studio.
Absolutely. Right? He has some of you kids won't know this, but they have the Neve board, which is, it's Neve, Neve, which if you've ever seen it, they have automated faders on them where you program it and then you hit the button and the faders move by themselves. Yeah, they used to show that in like old Bon Jovi videos and stuff like that.
Impress everybody.
Yep. So no, he had the flying fader board. I mean, it was amazing. And then I got Cliff Robinson from Judge Dredd to illustrate the cover, because I was like, Brian Bolland, who created Judge Death and all that. He was not within my reach. I mean, the guy, you couldn't get him to do it even for money. He just doesn't do it. But Cliff, Cliff was his understudy, and Cliff is a great artist. And so, and his stuff looks just like Bolland. And he's like the cover artist for Judge Dredd to this day. And I wrote him and I said, hey, I got this idea, and would you do it? And he said, yeah, and we worked it out. So I got the album that I'd been working for 30 years. I got to have my album produced by Alex Perialis with the cover from the artist from Judge Dredd. And how
fucking cool is that?
Yeah. And people want to know why I haven't done another one. And part of the answer is because I don't know if I can top it. That was a dream come true. And I'd planned on doing more, but the world kind of caught up to the sort of the satire that I was doing. But everything I talked about on that album is actually literally happening. It's not just like kind of an exaggeration anymore. So,
you know, that's kind of true. Because I think a lot of people don't get the humor in a lot of the, there's, some people they get worked up because it's definitely not a PC record.
Oh no. But I mean, I tried to do it as just ridiculously as I could to make the point. It was like supposed to be like Mad Magazine, It's like I have a song called "Kill Everybody," and like I make a point in the song where I mean, I'm not talking about killing just some people. I'm talking about literally killing every single person on the planet. That's why the hook is start digging 7 billion graves.
Here, let's show the cover of everyone. That's a that's like a very detailed, cover.
It was
going on there.
Yeah, and it was crazy because it was so great because Cliff was so easy to work with. I mean, yeah, because there's a lot going on there, and I just had this huge checklist of types of people, like archetypes that I wanted featured on the album. I said, okay, I want this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. And then he just kind of came up with that. And a lot of those he actually slid into place, almost like they were separate transfers. You know what I mean? He drew one person and he liked doing that one, but then, as you know, on the back cover, he rendered me and my bandmates standing over everybody, and we'd shot them.
I can find that one too.
And he did an amazing job on that, and he managed to even keep all the people in the same relative order that they show on the on the cover, which was really funny. But he wrote me when he finished the pieces, and he goes, "I'm looking at what I've done here, and I'm wondering if I've done the wrong thing portraying this. It's so over the top." It's also worth mentioning that Erica was the one who colored that, if you can believe it.
Erica did that coloring?
Yeah, those were black and white. Erica did the digital coloring. She could easily have a job with Marvel or DC. She did an amazing job on that.
Yeah, because I mean, if I didn't know that, that would be professional in my eyes.
Yeah,
someone in the field who does that for a living. Here's the back pic I found.
Yeah, that's us standing over everybody that we killed. But yeah, Erica did all the coloring. None of that, anything like the sky, all of that. She did every bit of that. And Cliff was pretty impressed because he had a colorist that he was going to recommend, but that was going to be like another.
I don't want to go off track, but to listeners that don't know, Jeff's wife Erica is pretty prolific herself. I mean,
yeah, I should have clarified that.
Yeah, great singer, guitarist. She played did like traditional like cover bands, but not these crappy ones, like really good ones,
really
total
good
pro cover bands of like Iron Maiden and I don't know, Scorpions
and Dio. Yeah.
Dio.
Yeah.
But then she was in what was she, in Tang? Was she ever in Tang? Or was the band after?
No. She was in Igniter.
Igniter, which is Jason McMaster now, is in that band.
Yeah, so, Igniter was power metal with Stuart from Agony Column, and then she had Morgan Grau, which was her own death metal project.
Death metal band, where she played guitar too. So
guitar and sang.
She was Hot for a hot minute as well.
Yeah. Yep.
Erica played in Hot. Yeah, so all these people who think Hot is this and that. Well, we had a female guitarist and. Go screw yourself.
And she hated all that shit. She was like, I mean, I don't want to speak too much for her, but she always found that whole women in metal thing really frustrating because she was just metal. She didn't need that to be defined that way, and she still doesn't. She's very real that way. So
when they go overboard with that, that's usually a bad sign.
Oh yeah, that
on it, or the band makes it all about, hey, well, we got females in here, and look at this.
I know, and I hate that because I do know some really good female metal musicians who I really think a lot of, but they're not coming out making a big deal out of it. They just show up and fucking play it,
They're metal, they're being metal, and it's not about anything else,
Yeah, like here's me name dropping again. Vanya from Triptychon is a friend of mine, and I really think a lot of her. She's a great musician, and stepping in a band with Tom G. Warrior, that's no small thing. And she wasn't in like any known bands before that. And so she came in and she's so great. She's a great player. And again, no hypey BS about her being a woman in the band. She's just good, you know. That's it.
Let's play some Birthday D before we head on to more things. I don't know what we got left, but we're gonna play some Birthday D. I always loved this video. It always made me chuckle. Parasites Die.
Right on, right on.
We'll talk about the making of the video and all that when we come back. This is a classic.
Yeah, definitely.
Parasites die! Yes, for a picture slice around, she asks each one to roll over kids like parasites die! You know, it's either place and crush, she's a warrior, she catch a million living room and trash. Parasites die! Always on the head of the line, think of me, like she's fine, fucking close without a spine. Parasites die!
All right. I always loved the fucking hand giving out everything you got. Like,
Yeah.
leave me alone.
Yeah, that video was really cool because it kind of completed the circle, so to speak. That was shot at Headhunters in downtown Austin when that was still a place. Billy Milano was the night manager there. Billy Milano of SOD.
Yeah.
And he was so cool. I mean, that was the thing that was amazing. Yeah, he liked us, and I asked him. I said, "Hey, can we get the bar like on a Monday night and film it?" And he said, "Sure," you know. And like we actually played a full set. It's a normal thing where we like played a full set, and then I did the skits, and you know, before we actually got on stage. So I did the walkthroughs first, and you know, had everybody like running around, and then we did the actual set. And Billy came up to me, and this blew my mind because I wasn't expecting anything like this, but he came up and goes, "You guys are single-handedly bringing this sound back." And I was like, oh my God, coming from that guy. He and also Dan Lilker were both really, really supportive of what we were doing. And then, you know, Alex, of course. So it was really great. Like, you know, we had like the blessing of the SOD.
Tell me about how did Dan Lilker come about? How did you hear, you know, from him?
Dan and I have known all the same people for forever.
Yeah, you and your New York connection. That's right, with Emma.
Yeah, and there was at some point Dan actually reached out to me. I forget why. I really forget how that happened, but he actually emailed me, and it wasn't because of Birth AD. It was before that, but somebody. I always want to say it's Ross from Immolation because he's good friends with Dan, but that wasn't why. Or maybe it was. I think Ross was talking about me, and maybe Dan wanted to like reach out because Dan just is a real underground dude. He wants to connect with people. So he reached out to me at some point. I was just really surprised to hear from him because I was a huge fan of SOD and Nuclear Assault and all that stuff.
Yeah, man, especially back then.
So then, got to see him touring in a couple of different capacities, and Brutal Truth played the Gore Growlers Ball in San Antonio, and I was hanging out with him at that, and I told him, I said, I'm going up to see Alex, any hints? And he actually gave me his bass formula, and I said, is that okay if I use that? And he's like, yeah. He's like, take it in good health, man. Say hi to Alex for me. And that was that. So
wow, I didn't know that part. That's cool.
Yeah. Dude. It doesn't sound exactly the same. It's not as distorted, but yeah, he totally gave me his blessing to take it that direction. So that
try to go there and capture what you can.
Yeah. And I mean, I won't give it away, but Alex called it hate bass. And so
it's devastating. So
yeah, this really very cool remiking reamping situation, but it was all done organically. So
very cool, man.
Yeah.
That song was from the first EP, right? That version.
It was from the first EP. That was the first version of it. Yeah. That was funny because we basically, the way we guaranteed that we'd have people is we put the word out that like we bought the beer. That was like our only investment. It was like maybe $200. We bought $200 of beer from the club. So basically everybody was just getting free beer while it lasted. So we just said, come out at like 8 o'clock. My little sister was there. I mean, she was an adult at this point, but my little sister was there in the audience. Like a whole bunch of people I hadn't seen in a while. Everybody showed up. Everybody just got into it, and we had a great time doing that. I as you see, I was really heavily influenced by Institutionalized, the walkthrough kind of thing. From that video, and then Brainwashed by Nuclear Assault, because I always really loved that video too. So those were the two that I was thinking of when I put that together. And cool. It was funny too, because I was also the director, so I'm having to like do that thing where I'm acting, but then I had to make everybody reset. I'm like, okay, we're gonna do it again. Here I come, and cool. So yeah, that was really a great time.
All right, I'm gonna play another Birthday D song, and then we'll talk about this video when we come back. This is from I Blame You, the full length.
Yeah.
Let's rock out.
From Division 1, we have a 4-story building going at 7th and Union. 7th and Union, no companies on scene. It's fully involved. We'll bring a task strike team back to this location unless you have another place to go. OCD from Battalion 5, we got both sides of Pico going. OCD from strike team 1204A at Albany on Olympic. I've got a 200 by 200 one-story commercial fully involved with OCD 77. Can we get another unit of PD if possible? We have a large hostile crowd.
Shitheads as far as the eye can see.
sounds like Dr. No with Toucher.
Yes.
I heard a Dr. No reference for sure.
Yeah. And that's, it's really funny. I never planned it that way. I mean, I like Dr. No, but I wasn't trying to emulate that specifically. That literally, I did what every hardcore thrash player, let's talk about that for a second. You'll agree with me on that, I think, Carl, is that there was a lot of unique voices in hardcore. Everybody just sounded like they sounded naturally. Like you think of the Cro-Mags or Bad Brains or the Crumbsuckers or any of those bands. Those guys all just sounded like they were going to sound like they weren't trying to do a formatted
emulating the style. They just the voice like Q. Even Cryptic Slaughter, hell, Beyond.
Yeah, it's Cryptic Slaughter, great example. And that's what I was doing. So I literally I went, okay, I can't try to sound like anybody. I'm just going to yell, and however that sounds is how it's going to sound. So, but it does sound a lot like Kyle in places, and I didn't really truly appreciate that until Dr. No reformed back in 2015, I guess, or 2014, 2015. I interviewed Kyle for my, I used to have that column on the National Examiner for metal, and I interviewed him for that, and we hit it off. And then I went out to California to see them play on the Sunset Strip, and oh my God, that was such a cool show. And I realized I was going, oh man, we sound a lot alike. And I mean, it was just kind of a cool thing, but full respect for Dr. No. Kyle's an awesome guy. I'll just say that real quick. I went out to see them. Kyle and I were in contact, and I came out on my own just to go see them play, because that was a kind of a special thing. And they just treated me like I'd been there the whole time. Like, I came backstage with them and just hung out, and like basically was just part of the crew for that night. And that was super cool.
I bet that was fun as hell, man. Dr. No is legendary too. So damn.
Dr. No influenced SOD. The opening riff for Mr. Freeze, the March of the SOD is just that riff slowed down. That's literally
You learn something new every day. But God damn it, that is it. Wow. Yeah. Dr. No is awesome.
Yeah.
So okay, burn LA. I mean, I know some people are like, why you want to burn LA down?
Why indeed?
Why you need to ask, right?
if you have to ask that question, you haven't fucking gone there. I mean, well, okay, you haven't had to go there for business, like to play a show. Maybe if you went there as a tourist, you go, wow, it's cool, it's fun, it's just kind of crazy and big. Yeah, if you're trying to get from point A to point B and actually deal with people there, holy shit, it's the worst. Especially, and if you're talking about like, I mean, us playing shows on the Strip, like at the House of Blues and stuff like that. Oh my God, what a colossal pain in the ass that town is. We hated our audiences. I finally broke that. We played, Averse Sefira played there a second time after we played like big places like House of Blues, and always hated the audiences. We went and played the Black Castle over in Compton, which is kind of a
real underground club.
Yeah, and that was much cooler. That was probably the problem. It's Hate War. That was Hate War.
Yeah. Fucking awesome.
But I couldn't deal with LA. I really hated it. I hated the people, and I wanted to write and that's what it was. Jason McMaster had, see, I can't even mention anybody I'm friends with without going, name dropping. No, Jason McMaster lent me a big stack of zines, like, and we're talking like the one like you used to do, where it was like hand stapled. This was not, I mean, and he like, and also Metal Forces and stuff. But we're talking about like zines that had interviews with Slayer, like where they got interviewed at a party or something. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
super
I mean,
old school thing.
Super old school. Like they were barely on the first album kind of thing. And Jeff talked a lot about how much they hated playing LA and how much they hated LA. And I was like, I fucking hate LA too. And I like, and then Hanneman got sick and was sidelined from Slayer. And I wrote that song for him. I was thinking about him. And the way it's played, like, you know, Mark's attack on the drums is very Lombardo. The riffing is very Hanneman. I did everything I could to not rip off Slayer. I did everything I could to that was one of the last songs we wrote for the album. That was one of the newest Birth AD songs of the bunch. And I really wanted that to be a tribute to Jeff. And that was without ripping Slayer off. And that was the closest I could get. And
I mean, we're obviously not talking about the cool people from LA that we know, or, you know.
Oh, no. But there's
a lot of pretentiousness just across the board in that city
Oh, yeah. Everyone's a fake fuck. Okay, there you go. This is a good story. We played the Key Club in Hollywood. This is where we were standing in front of the Chinese theater, what I was talking about earlier. We played that with 1349, and I don't know if you know a porn star by the name of Jasmine St. Clair. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, Killjoy's sidekick. Yes, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, yep. She was like a total anal queen, all this stuff. And she was into metal, but boy, God, if she was into metal, it was like in the most indirect way possible, because all she did was stand around with a bunch of people who were like her hangers on and just, you know, seeing people in the back of the club talking shit and, you know, acting like she knew something. And she was just back there taking up space and pissing us all off. I was not impressed with her. None of us were. The bassist from Goat Horror, who was on the tour with us, 1349's on stage. She's talking about how she loves metal and she knows everything about metal. The bassist from Goat Horror just says to her, he goes, well, if you know so much about metal, why the fuck are you standing back here instead of watching the band play? And she, you know, pulled up, you know, her eyes got huge. And then she marched up and slapped the bassist from Goat Horror, like full on. We're not talking like a cheap slap. No, not James. This is the guy before him, Nate.
Okay, gotcha.
But no, she slapped him. I mean, left a big mark. She had a handful of rings and whacked him. And then there was this bad square off for a second where it was like the tour package was going to kick everyone's ass in the backstage, including her. I would have punched her. I wouldn't have thought twice about it. But it didn't go that way. But yeah, that was a pretty bad moment. And and I was just like, man, fuck this fucking town. I hate it. And that was it.
See, that's what I mean. That pretentiousness, like, okay, that really deserves like slapping that guy really fucking hard for, you know, basically being called out and told the truth. You know, it wasn't like he disrespected her.
Yeah, he burned her totally. I mean, he caught her completely. He just ripped that fucking label or whatever. He ripped the veil right off, and she had nowhere to go.
Yeah, so she did the shitty thing, you know, slap some dude, and she knows she can get away with it because she's a female. And
yeah. But again, we almost beat up. We were going to beat up her entourage for sure. They were all trying to.
Oh yeah, I'm going to have to pay the price.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the story with that. But yeah, I've always hated LA. I got friends in LA people I like, but my friends in LA, when I told them I was writing that song, they're like, yeah, do it. You know, it needs to be done. Yeah. So.
Yeah. You know, I told the story before, but I never told this. You know, every time we played LA or around LA, it was terrible. Just terrible. You know, everybody's like basically like fuck off, you know, to the band playing on stage with, you know, just the body language, right?
Yes.
The best show we ever played in LA was the one Sherman did for us at his practice place.
Yes.
And he had the neighborhood kids, you know, come in and like charge like, I don't know, I think really ridiculous $4 or something like that. And that show was so fun, you know, and it wasn't even really set up. Sherman just kind of did it on the wing and started telling everybody, hey, you know, I got a band playing here, come support them. You know, he put the word out, and that was the best. I mean, it was just a, you know, big practice room. Yeah, it was the funnest show like Hod ever had in LA.
Sherman's the magic, and we're talking about Sherman Jones from Insecticide, ladies and gentlemen.
Sherman Jones from Insecticide.
Sherman is the magic presence that makes LA okay to be in, because when Averse Sefira came back to LA on her own and we were playing at the Black Castle and around the area, Sherman was the one who was hired by the promoters to get us from place to place. We'd never met him before, and he's just the greatest. And he had his little mini, the black short bus, and he was porting us around, and he is the greatest guy. I mean, heart of gold. I love that guy. And he made that trip in LA. He was only going to be with us for like a day and a half, and then we hit it off so well. He just stayed with us the entire time, and we just had a blast. I got nothing but love, but for Insecticide and Sherman in particular.
Yeah, it's like, for me, like the old guard guys like Sherman. And I mean, I don't know him. I think you know him, Caton from Hyrax. All those guys.
Caton's another dude who makes LA cool.
They have like the right LA, like make LA right. They're good guys. They always seem to. And of course, I know like Mike Abominator, always fucking awesome.
Oh yeah.
Ruin and used to be in Grave Hill. Well, even fucking Frazier agrees Sherman's a cool motherfucker. So yeah. Sherman's awesome.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
But outside of that, like just the kind of general feel of the city, there's a lot of pretentiousness, and not saying every fucking person's like that in LA, but
no, but it's definitely. I mean, that whole town's built on one-upsmanship, which is what I'm screaming about in this song, and it just makes everyone really, really fake and insincere. That's the thing I really hated about it, was that I met so many people that seemed so insincere, and it just drove me crazy. I don't know what it is. Maybe I've got some kind of social disorder, but that type of fakery, it really makes me want to just, like when chimpanzees are,
you're preaching to the choir over here. It's just like,
oh yeah. I mean, like chimpanzees, when they're in captivity, they freak out and like they beat someone down and then they like rip their face off. They really go all out. They don't just beat them down. They actually like disfigure the person that they're pummeling. Yeah, it really gets me that way. It's like, oh my God, I don't want to actually kill you. I just want to hurt you so bad you wish you were dead.
Like in LA, brings out the wonderfulness of everybody.
Yeah.
So, you were talking about Ruben, and we were talking about Wes and all that. And I showed way earlier. I showed Imprecation, demo, a 7-inch collection that's out on. It's out on Nuclear War now, and Aaron did it on cassette reissue on Goat Throne.
Yeah, I think that's still on the way. But there's a box set coming out on Goat Throne Records, and it's all the same material, but it's divided up into their respective demo releases, which is really, really cool. So,
Aaron does good work. It's going to be
yeah, and he's come a long way. He's done some really cool stuff. So
Goat Throne is definitely a label to watch out for. I don't see nothing. It's been an upward ascending. It hasn't leveled off yet. He's going upward, and Aaron's a great guy to work with. If you're in a band and Aaron contacts you, I suggest you get back with him, because he sticks to his word, which is hard thing to do. Seems to be nowadays with a lot of labels and people. He says what he delivers. He delivers what he says. I hope we just lost Jeff for a sec. You're back, but Aaron's awesome. So I want to play one of the songs from the album. Give me 1 sec to find it.
Yeah,
it's a rager. There we go. still heavy to this day. So fucking crushing, dude.
Yeah. We haven't played that one live in this iteration of the band yet, but that's in the works.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a ripper too. That's one of my favorites from the old days.
Yeah.
So I think we covered everything, man. We had a nice little conversation here. This is pretty random because I was just going to play videos, and Jeff told me, "Hey, I want to come on," and like, well, fuck yeah, let's do it. Let's do a fucking Jeff show tonight. Appreciate you coming by the witching hour.
Absolutely. I'm glad finally got to do it, and thanks for supporting all my stuff.
Of course, man. I mean, at this point, that's all we got left to do is just support each other's bands and headbang and listen to fucking death metal and, you know, death, black metal, thrash, whatever, all the good stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you all need to go out there. Support Jeff is currently in, if you came in late, he's currently in Imprecation, and he's also in Trenchant. Name drop the albums because I already forgot Trenchant full length.
The current Imprecation album. Oh, and nominate. God, it's getting late. It's in nominate Diaboli. That's out on Dark Descent. You can get it everywhere. It's on vinyl, CD, everything. And also, Imprecation's got the re-release of Theurgia Goetia Summa. That is out on Nuclear War now on vinyl, and it's coming out on tape compilation special box set. You're going to want to get a hold of that from Go Through Records.
Probably all versions because I got it on CD, the original. So I got the vinyl, and I'm going to need the freaking cassette now too. So.
And then Trenchant, the album is called Command Occult, and that is out on Gods of War Productions out of Poland, but it's available everywhere. Hang on, if you don't mind, I'm going to be really unprofessional here and give you the Bandcamp address.
Yeah, Jeff is giving us the Bandcamp address.
Yeah, I'm being really lame here. Oh, okay, that's what it was. I couldn't remember. We couldn't use Trenchant because again, somebody somewhere had used that name. It's Command Occult. The two words together. See, Command Occult, like you just put it together at .bandcamp.com. So you can support us there. We have shirts and CDs and cassettes and pens.
The shirts look awesome because that's a great album cover. I still
thank you. I'm really proud of those. Rodney Dunsmore of Devastation.
Oh, Rodney did.
Yeah, he did them. And
he's a good fucking guy, man.
He's a great guy, and he did a great job on those. He's done 2 runs of those for us, and they just look stellar. So yeah.
Okay, that was the 20th name drop of the night.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Name drops falling on my head.
All right. Anything else you need to do before we head out?
Yeah, let me quickly read off the calendar here for April.
Okay.
Nuclear War, Imprecation at Nuclear War Now Fest in San Marcos on April 1st. So please come out to that to support all the bands. Ares Kingdom's going to be playing. That's going to kill. A lot of great lineup for that one. I don't have it in front of me, but then April 13th through the 16th is Metal Threat in Chicago. If you're planning on going to a fest this year, make that the one you're going to. You're going to see Messiah is playing. Did you see that?
No, I mean, I'm sure I have. It's almost it's a flyer I would make up.
Yeah, it looks fake.
Don't even put this on in Europe. In America, no way.
Yeah, Exhumer's playing. Hey, let's take a quick look at that real quick because that is a lineup that really deserves some call outs here.
I'm gonna try to find a flyer for it and put it on the show because it is insane.
Okay, so Metal Threat Fest, we've got Sinister, and it's all old material they're playing. Sinister, Dead Congregation, Cyanide, Undergang, Impaled Nazarene, Sacramentum, Ancient Rites, first time in America, Noir, always great. Messiah, first time in America. Exhumer, first time in America, as far as I can tell. Then Possession, Slut Vomit, Ares Kingdom, Necromantheon from Norway, Black Thrash. Detente, which that's going to be interesting with no Don
Wow.
Crosby. I don't know what that's going to sound like. Sabathon, which is really worthy because that's like the former members of Enthroned playing classic Enthroned material. So that's going to be great. Not Sabaton, but Sabathon is.
Yeah, I love all that old stuff. I found out about that band is doing that not too long ago. Too long ago.
And then also Gehenna, as we mentioned, Mort Grinning. Remember Mort Grinning?
Yes.
Yep, they're playing. I think that's the total of it. Well, oh, and then also.
There we go. I found it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, put it up there. Man.
Outrageous.
Yeah, and then of course, like I said, Sadistic Intent, Nun Slaughter, of course, Imprecation and Trenchant. It's going to be incredible. Then last.
Cemetery Dust is on there too. Damn.
Yep. But then last in San Antonio on April 29th, Trenchant is headlining at Bonds downtown, also with Hexea. And oh God, I don't have that in front of me. Is it? Shit. I'm so unprofessional.
No, it's okay.
Let's see.
I bet you I can find it real quick, dude.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's right. Okay. I didn't want to forget anybody. It's Trenchant with Serpentian from here in Austin. With John Zig and Steve.
There you go. Yes.
Everybody. Serpentian, Black Jackal from San Antonio, awesome band. Hexea, and then Sanira. I don't know them, but they have a cool logo, so that'll be pretty cool. And you'll get to hear a full set from Trenchant. If you haven't seen us before. Oh yeah, Sigyn is playing also at Metal Threat. I'm really excited to see that. Do you know that one, Carl?
The German band, right?
Yeah. Former member of Necros Christos.
Yes. It's very more angel-y. Yeah.
Really, really cool. Like Abominations of Desolation, more of an angel.
Yeah.
Very cool. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. But
man, I didn't know there's all these other Trenchants around. That's fucking sucks.
Yeah, I want to say that so far we're like now the best known one, but yeah,
you are.
I've been bugging Nick to copyright the name. You have to pay a little money up front to do that, but I'll tell you, once you get that trademark number, you can shut anybody down online. If they have the name Trenchant, like for instance on like Twitter or Instagram, you just submit your copyright number and it shuts them down. We did that. I did that with the Averse Sefira. We had that name copywritten. And that's the best part. If somebody
I'm sorry to interrupt, but do you know Roy? Roy from Nickel Harmonic?
Hi Roy. I know who you are, but we've never met.
Yeah. It's crazy, Roy, because I know you're watching. Jeff is like mega friends with the Immolation guys, just like you. And I bet if you asked Ross about Jeff Tandy, he's like, "That's one of my best friends," or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's saying he'll be at Metal Threat.
Oh, too, cool. So. Well, we'll meet there. Yeah. God, Ross and I, to this day, we still talk on the phone like weekly. I mean, always checking in. So
that's awesome, dude.
Yeah. Cool, dude. No, he's the best. Those guys are fantastic. I'll show off for a second if you haven't picked up the Trenchant yet. If you need a seal of approval, Bob Benya put a solo on our title track, so that was something really, really special.
It's kind of like death metal royalty on your record.
Yeah, Nick about crapped his pants when I suggested we do that. That was pretty great. I was like, "Hey, what if Bob did the solo for this?" He's like, "Are you serious?" And yeah, he said, "Yeah," right away. So. And
that's awesome.
If you haven't heard the song, the only thing I'll just call out about it that I was in love with was the fact that Bob had about a minute, like a solid minute, to cover that ground with the solo, which is actually a lot for a solo. Some people like it solo only is like 20 seconds in a song.
It's in and out.
Yeah. Minute.
So
Bob. Bob went in there like a Swiss Army knife. He used every single trick that he has in his arsenal. Like every move that you hear in a Bob Vinya solo, he put that in there. And man, that was the best. So I kind of almost went, man, like compared to the rest of the song, this is like the coolest, the coolest part. You know,
Well, I mean, it's Bob. It's real playing the lead on here.
Yeah. So, I mean, here's what I'd like to leave people with, because I was thinking about this earlier. There's a saying that goes, never meet your heroes. And I don't agree with that. I say, pick your heroes carefully. Yeah, be realistic about who they seem to actually be, and then act accordingly. I have met, at this point, I've met almost all of my heroes. I'm about to cap it next week, because I told you I'm going to go down and meet Harley Flanagan from the Cro-Mags for the first time.
Oh ever. Yeah, I remember getting that. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Jeff is just like me. Is I turned you on to I think I turned you on to a lot of the hardcore.
You did. You turned me on to Cro-Mags, and you didn't have to convince me at all. You played that record the first time. I was all.
I mean, it's a classic. I mean, if you didn't like it, I think there was something wrong with you. Like, it's great. Yeah. So you're meeting Harry next week.
Yeah, because he was an influence on me too, and yeah, so that's what I was going to say. Is I've gotten to meet virtually all my heroes, and I've not been disappointed a single time, because I mean, some of them are cooler than others. It's true, but what's
going to happen?
Yeah. No, that, like I said,
but like you said, like I temper your expectations too, and
yeah. Well, also
happens,
Yeah, I mean, shit, man. I mean, I even got to meet Hanneman the one time, and that was cool as hell, And he was a reputedly hard guy to know, but I don't know. I guess I lucked out on that and happened to do something that he thought was really cool. So, and I'm not talking about my bands. I'm realizing I'm overtelling the story. I founded the National Day of Slayer, and he thought that was really cool. So that worked out good.
I totally forgot to even bring that up. You are the man responsible for that event, National Day of Slayer, in retaliation to National Day of Prayer.
Yeah, people don't even know that if they're not from the Deep South. Most people don't know what the National Day of Prayer is, even though it's a federal thing.
How is it?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just amazed that Nuclear Blast, every year they do a National Day of Slayer sale on Slayer merch and everything. So that's still going on. That's really, really cool.
That's a double horn salute,
Yeah,
get the approval of Slayer,
Yeah,
National Day of Slayer. I love it. And just all you got to do is blast Slayer all day. That's that's the only thing you got.
Don't go to work. Listen to Slayer.
Yeah, cause problems, right?
Yeah, I mean, and that gets back full circle to what we were talking about throughout tonight. The show tonight is that really it's all about supporting, supporting other bands, supporting each other's efforts. I mean, that's the grassroots spirit of the underground. And like, I didn't get paid to create the National Day of Slayer. I just did it because I felt strongly about making a statement like that. And that's what you should always be doing in metal. Metal is about making statements. It's not about making money.
And about making statements and not compromising your position or attitude. I mean, I get it sometimes, but the main thing is you can't be having major compromises in metal,
No. And you are allowed to be successful. Like I said earlier too, Watain earned their success. I don't begrudge them that one bit. But yeah, if you're going into metal with the idea that you're going to do it to be successful, you're a fucking poser.
Yeah.
That's the big takeaway for the night.
That's metal, right? If you think you're going to be famous or making all this money and all that, or
and hey,
killer riffs, and heaviness and blast beats and double bass, thrash. That's just want to make fucking sick music. That's my opinion of it.
Killer riffs and no social engineering bullshit. Those are my two firm requirements for what makes a band good.
Very
I mean,
true.
I didn't like it when I mean, just for the record, and I'm not trying to keep you here all night, but I'm having too good a time talking about all this stuff. I didn't
It's up to
like
you when we want to stop. I was going to go watch TV after this.
Right on. I got to go to Houston tomorrow to practice, so I'm going to have to like wind it up. But I was just going to say, I didn't even like it when the thrash bands got too socially aware back when. That's when death metal was the antidote for that.
Yes.
You know?
That's why you had hardcore bands and punk bands.
Right. I mean, but shit, I mean, you know, everything's connected here. It's like even then, like with the Cro-Mags, those songs were about beating people down who got in your way. That wasn't a whole lot of, or Razor. Violent Restitution is such an unrelentingly violent album about just fucking people up to get in your way. I love that album so much.
Let me rephrase that. You got West Coast hardcore and punk for all that,
Yeah.
The other side of the streets was pretty fucking brutal and violent. I'm just being a dick because I know they
Like,
had their
well,
shit.
but yeah, like
too.
Like Agnostic Front and Cro-Mags and Crumbsuckers, all those bands were about "fuck you, motherfucker." You know, that was really.
I don't know if you ever watched any of like Roy. We were just talking about earlier some of the stories like being at Cro-Mags and Agnostic Front shows, and other guys at
awesome.
Francisco is brutal, man. I was like, damn.
Yeah. No, I know. You know, people from that era. I met people from that era who have just incredible stories. Actually, I have a friend. She doesn't like to make too much of it, but she lived with the Cro-Mags back then. She literally lived in the squats with those dudes. So she had she had some insane stories about those times. This is when like the band was like Age of Quarrel era, and she was living with all those guys in those abandoned squats.
Yeah, those weren't fantasy lyrics.
No,
no. True stories on their life.
I mean, the legitimacy of bands like that, or like even like Morbid Angel or Deicide, who were literally doing the kind of fucked up shit they were singing about, you know, or Watain. That's a great point. Those guys, the stuff that they're espousing, that's not me. I mean, it's kind of beyond. I wouldn't say fantastical, but I mean, it's definitely, I mean, it's like esoteric and well, satanic and all that. Those guys are living that. And I would also point out,
yes, they are.
Marduk or Funeral Mist, particularly Ariak. That dude's the real deal. And I don't know what JD was talking about with that whole him being an alcoholic or anything. He's not like that at all.
I didn't get that impression.
No.
It's an intense personality, a quiet, intense personality, but also like be very explosive too, you know.
Oh yeah, he's intense as hell, but he's not a drunk, you know.
No, definitely not like some loud, obnoxious guy.
No. Only a couple of times, but that's different, you know.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna happen, but not like a usual thing, you know.
No. None, certainly not falling down drunk or anything stupid like that. It is weird how rumors get started, or people get different people confused and what they read. I mean, I'm not saying anything about JD. I'm just saying in general, it's weird how that gets started.
No, that's happened to like Odd. You know, we were taking the heat from certain things that happened, and we weren't. It wasn't even us.
Yeah, I remember that.
People. No, and there's other things I probably haven't even told you, like, you know, people coming at Bear and shit, and Bear's like, "You fucking idiot, that wasn't even me."
Wow.
You know, it's like, what the hell are you talking? So, can you imagine on their level, you know, the type of how it could be?
Oh yeah,
amplified even more. You know, what they deal with.
There was rumors about Averse Sefira that we heard, some of them I heard after the fact, where people kind of cautiously said, "Hey, was this one thing ever true? And I'm like, oh my God, no, it's not even based on anything that ever happened. I mean, people were literally just making shit up or mishearing things. It was so strange. Yeah, blabbermouth.
Here comes Ted. Dude, don't get me started on that nonsense. He's probably been through it too.
Yeah. I mean, there was a rumor that the reason we had a drum machine on our demo in our first album was because we had killed our drummer.
I should have ran with that one for a while.
Yeah, no, we kind of just laughed it off and never really explained it. The other thing that was funny is that I got misquoted. Averse Sefira, the people always said, "How did you get your paint so good and consistent?" Like it was always the same. Yeah, and part of it was because, and this was so uncharacteristic of him, but Gene Simmons was interviewed in like a magazine, and he literally, well, he was doing this for the KISS Army. To if you wanted to be in the KISS Army, he gave the actual recipe for all the makeup that you get for KISS. And I mean, the brand of the clown white that they used and the pencils that they used, you know, to do all the accenting and everything. Sam and I just literally wrote that down and went to the costume supply store and bought all that stuff. And so then sometime later, I was quoted in saying that we got our formula for, someone was asking how we did our paint and how we did it so well. And I said, well, we got our formula from Gene Simmons. And I was taken out of context, and people thought that Gene Simmons had actually literally told us like we knew him or something, which that was really funny.
Yeah, Gene called us up one day and gave us the
now listen carefully. Listen carefully. You don't want to screw this up, okay? You need the Stein's clown white, right? Okay. You know, can you just imagine him on the phone? You know, he's on the speakerphone, like leaning over his desk. Okay, boys, we got to get this right. You know, if you want to be a success, here's what you do. You know,
that's too much. Gene said it's gone. All right, man. I think I'm gonna play one more song, and we'll be out on the other end.
Awesome.
So thanks again, dude. This was fun, man. We're gonna have you on more often to do it. You know?
Yeah, I'll try to make a point of hopping in. I get busy. We all do. You know.
One thing about my show, even if you want to hop in for a few, hop in. You know, as long as you want. It really doesn't matter. You know.
Okay.
I don't want a whole guest like here for the whole 3 hours. It's always up to the guests how long they want to stay in here. Yeah. But I bet this is let me get into the right files here. Francisco put this video up for an ETD earlier this week, so we'll play some new ETD. It's real short, and then we'll be out on the other end. So again, Jeff, thanks for showing up. It was a fucking good time. This turned out for a spur moment thing, dude. Just came out pretty awesome. I appreciate it. Thanks,
Carl.
All right, everyone. Good night. Fucking subscribe to the Witching Hour and we'll share it around. All right.
Thanks for supporting.
Hacksaw Rapture from ETD on the now sold out cassette. Second press is coming. CDs are coming and vinyl is coming. So check it out.
It took me over a decade to look at this photo. What happened to her head? Light is light without dark.